built a tower made of paper and lies, stacked it high with the liar's disguise. But the wind's picking up, gonna blow it all down. A reckoning's coming to this hollow town. Tear it down, burn it up, let the light shine through. Trump's got the hammer, Musk lights the fuse. No more chains, no deep state blues. The eagle's screaming, we got work to do. They sold our steel, they stole our land, turned the worker into a begging hand. But the wheels are turning, the fire's alive. We're taking back what's rightfully mine. Tear it down, burn it up, let the light shine through. Trump's got the hammer, Musk lights the fuse. No more chains, no deep state blues. The eagle's screaming, we got work to do. Ghosts of the past whisper through the trees. Swamp runs deep, but it's begging to freeze. Freedom ain't given, it's a fight to the bone. Stand your ground or be overthrown. Tear it down, burn it up, let the light shine through. Trump's got the hammer, Musk lights the fuse. No more chains, no deep state blues. The eagle's screaming, we got work to do. Our work to do. Ghosts of the past whisper through the trees. Swamp runs deep, but it's begging to freeze. Freedom ain't given, it's a fight to the bone. Stand your ground or be overthrown. Tear it down, burn it up, let the light shine through. Trump's got the hammer, Musk lights the fuse. No more chains, no deep state blues. The eagle's screaming, we got work to do.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
How you doing, everybody?
How you doing, Dr. Jade?
No, doing okay. It was a quiet week.
Yeah,
How are you, Rich?
I'm good, man. We got some good news this week.
Oh.
It's like every week we got like righteous stuff going on, so that's
I sent you the best good news story of the month. I
know.
sent
We'll
you
get
that.
into that. Hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, Simon? Jimmy from Philly's in the house. What's up, guys?
Yo, Jimmy, how you doing?
Yo, yo, yo. Yeah, we'll wait till we get a couple more people. Yeah, we got some big story. The big story of the week, though, I thought, besides yours, is Schumer caved. Hey,
Oh.
Linda, how you doing, girlfriend?
Now, you gotta go take the 35,000-foot view of that. It's not that Schumer caved. It's that our president masterfully maneuvered him and
Yeah.
the Democrat Party into a lose-lose situation.
Exactly. You're exactly right. But he caved because normally,
And he had a choice: real bad or worse.
yeah, and
And he chose what he thought was real bad.
Real bad. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I guess the last thing they want, if they shut down the what is it? The Office of Management and something.
Office of Management
Um,
and Budget.
yeah, the Office of Management and Budget basically takes over
Yep.
the government. And I guess that guy,
Yeah.
Russ Vought, he's about the last person they want
The junior
involved in
ones. I know.
anything. He's the author of Project 2025.
Right,
And
right,
he's about
right.
the last thing. If there was a person worse than Trump that they hate, it's him.
I was saying I wanted Trump to get sworn in with his hand on a copy of Project 2025 because the libnuts went crazy with that. He had said all along, I have nothing to do with it. You know, I don't know anything about it. And like, oh, yeah, but this guy right here, he's a Trump supporter. So what? So that means Trump's in. He had, what did he have? He had 47, not Project. I forget what the hell it was.
Yeah, Agenda 47.
Agenda 47. Thank you. Yeah, he had Agenda 47. And they're
Yeah,
all,
he had
"Oh,
nothing to do with
Project."
Project. He had nothing to do with Project 2025. I think he's embraced some. I haven't looked
Yeah,
at it.
well, I
He's
read it.
embraced some of its elements.
I remember. Hey, Pam, how you doing, girl? I put a I did a video. I put a video up on that, and I read it, and I said, you know what? When you read this thing, you're like, why isn't he supporting it? You know, and I was like, but he has Agenda 47, which is fine, but because all the things that were in there, you could think that actually our Speaker of the House wrote it because it doesn't come out and say it's Christian nationalism, but it is pushing a lot of things of Christian nationalism in that Project 2025 says, look, we were a Judeo-Christian country in the beginning. And whether you're an atheist or you believe or you have some other religion outside of Christianity, we had an order in things. And J.D. Vance actually recently just talked about the Christian order of love, right?
Yep.
You love yourself first, then you love your family, right? Then you love your neighbor, then you love your community, then your country. And after all of that is loved, that's a whole lot of love. After all that's loved, then you can do foreign shit. Okay?
Yeah.
But the libnuts want to take care of everybody outside of our country first and crap all over us.
It's America last.
Yeah. No, it's Judeo-Christian. It was a Judeo-Christian country.
No,
In
no,
fact-
the libtards are America last.
Right. In fact, there was a Jewish family that had a variety shop on Broad Street, Philadelphia. And they provided most of the blankets, socks, clothing, all kinds of shit to George Washington's troops at Valley Forge. And I've been there to Valley Forge because I live near there. And I went into we went in and we went on a tour because they have the guys, you know, with muskets and all doing the reenactments and all that. And then they talked about this. And that family secretly was donating all kinds of stuff to keep the men from dying from freezing, right? And all that. And here, do you know who's a descendant from that family? Larry Fine. Does his name ring a bell?
Yes, it does. Where do I know the name?
Mo, Larry, and Curly. He was Larry. His family,
that's right.
owned. They were his descendant or his ancestors were the owners of that variety store that donated all that. Yeah, we have I think it's in Springhouse, PA, which is not that far from me. It's like maybe 10 miles, and they have a Three Stooges museum there where they talk about that stuff. Yeah, so we got good stories. The first three are going to focus on the cave, and here's my take on the cave. Okay, the Democrats always knew that the Republicans were wussies with a P, and that they would threaten. Because think about this, guys. No matter who's in power, right? It's always the Republicans' fault. You know, so even when Trump was not president, Joe Biden was president, and they had the Senate and the House, and they couldn't get the continued resolution through or raise the ceiling, right? The debt ceiling. They still blamed the Republicans. Donald Trump told his people, and it's like, wait a minute, Donald Trump has no power. Okay, what he's doing is fighting off all your goddamn lawfare. Okay, so he has no power. So shut up. Number one, right? But so what I believe is going on is the people got smart because too many talk radio and people like us are putting out there that, look, 73% of the federal government workforce are considered essential. So when the government shuts down, they still work. And the other people that are not essential, Well, Doge might be able to take care of them, but but my point is, those people, what do they always get when the shutdown's over? Back pay,
Yeah,
every single time. So
every time.
point of crying over we're not going to shut the government down. So now what you got is you have leaders, right? You have Johnson and you have Thune, and they were schooled by Trump, by Doge, by other people, other conservatives, to say, look, stop backing down on this government shutdown, because most of our constituents, hey, what's up, Bobby? What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. So they told them, they said, stop backing down. Stop being a bunch of pussies. There, I said it. Stop doing that, because they're going to cave in the end, right? Because everybody knows that the government shuts down all the time. I remember I used to listen to Mark Levin, and he would say, ladies and gentlemen, do you realize it is 8:00 on a Friday night? The government is shut down. Oh my God. Because they shut down at like 7:00 at night. And he's like, what the hell is this? So I started looking into it. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, shut it down. Shut it down. Because the more the government is not doing things, the less we have to worry about what they're stealing. So
Government is not good at doing anything.
Right. Oh,
they
I know.
are not efficient or good at doing anything.
Here you go.
And did you see AOC going in this vein? AOC going on and on and on about how they're going to they don't have the votes, and we're going to use the filibuster against them.
Right.
And then right after that, you see these old videos of her stomping her petulant foot, saying we have to get rid of the filibuster.
Right.
And then I forget who it was talking to her, and he said, do you still feel the same way?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, but the thing, I just love that they caved. See, what we're witnessing here is the Democrats are completely out of power. But here's the difference, Jade. Guys, here's the difference. Whenever they were out of power in the past, they still got whatever they wanted to get done. They just did.
It's because it's the uniparty.
Yeah, because the rhinos would always go along with them. I don't know whether, hey, what's up, Chris? Good to see you. I don't know if it was because they had a picture of Republican rhinos with a donkey or something in a compromising position. I don't know what it was, but they always got them to go along with them, right? And that's where the fear started, right?
I have a special guest.
Oh, cool. Oh, there you go. Oh, nice dog.
There's a special guest.
Cool.
It's my niece's dog.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's babysitting me for the weekend.
Yeah, so we're going to go over, let's see, let me just show the titles for right now. This is what we're going to talk about, the main stuff. So look at that picture. Look at him. All right, Chuck Schumer caves on Republican spending bill. There's Big Mouth. House Dems are melting down over Schumer caving on government shutdown. Get the Chuck out of here. Democrats are finally united against themselves. Yeah, RFK Jr. tells food companies to remove artificial dyes or face consequences.
How about that?
Yeah, and this is Dr. Jade's story of the week. Trump's latest win. Rosie O'Donnell self-deports. That's a win.
Yay!
Steve Bannon takes aim at the left's judicial insurrection, and Mike Davis's update, tides are turning. This is he's talking about Beryl Howell, the most dangerous, outrageous activist judge overreach yet. She's an Obama appointee. Then we have Rachel Maddow, MSNBC in crisis. Rachel Maddow lost a quarter of her viewers since Trump's victory. And I would say, see, the way they want to word it is, oh, well, he won, so they left. No. They left. They stayed with her, right, until Trump started doging the shit out of everything, right? And that's when they realized this guy means business. And the way that they explained it, see, they always said, well, like the Democrats demanded that Elon go to like a class to learn how to speak congressional. And they were like, are you insane? And they're like, speak like a human. This is why they hate Trump, because he doesn't talk the way that they do. He talks so that we can understand him.
So he has to go so he can speak congressionally. Does that, like Jasmine Crockett? I want to say Crotchet, but like Jasmine Crockett, is that how to speak properly in the House?
Yes. Is that not nuts? So here we go. Immigration accounted for all U.S. population growth in 2022 and 2023. The first time that's happened since 1850. That's something. Then we got a plethora of cool stories up here. Let's go. Anybody else want to chime in anything before we go? Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Yeah, Chuck Schumer, the Palestinian. Doesn't Chuck Schumer always look like he's about to have an evil orgasm? Doesn't he? He just always has that look on his face, like he's about to go evil, and he loves it. So let's see what we're going to do. Let's go into this one. And I will share that. Let's see. Is it big enough? Yeah, it is. Okay. So Chuck Schumer caves on Republican spending bill. And you know what? It happened in the middle of my video today. Did you? Yeah, you saw it today. I saw your comments, Jade. That's why I had this whole thing saying in my script that I wrote, saying, yeah, Chuck Schumer's going to do, because the word went out, he was going to do everything he could to get it to fail in the Senate. And, bribe the rhinos, maybe fillet them. I don't know. But it turns out that the word came out that he caved. And so I had to do a little rewrite. But I can do that. So let's see. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer caved on supporting a Republican spending bill that would keep the government from shutting down and will be voting for cloture, according to a recent report. Jake Sherman, the founder of Punchbowl News, wrote in a post that Schumer will vote for cloture. That means it goes to the vote. And that he needs 6 more Dems to follow him. Now think about that. Chuck Schumer, that evil son of a bitch, he had to rally up 6 Democrats to vote with Trump, because they're not voting Republican. They're voting with Trump in their brain, right? Which is why, like the AOCs, see, they got nothing else. They have to act outraged. They're so outraged, Oh God, it's a great time to be alive.
So,
Sure.
do you think he's got? Do you think he's got the 7 votes to make 60?
Yeah. Sherman also noted that John Fetterman, I support fracking. I've always supported fracking. Said he will already. Okay. According to the website for the United States Senate, the Senate adopted cloture in 1917, a rule that allows 2/3 majority to end a filibuster, a procedure known as cloture. We don't have to read that. So here we go. Jake Sherman. And there it is. Schumer will vote for cloture, needs 6 more Dems to follow him. Fetterman said he will already. It just doesn't sound like good English. All right, whatever. So as Breitbart News' Bradley J. previously reported, Schumer previously announced that Democrats would reject a House-passed government plan to keep the government funded past the Friday deadline through the end of the fiscal year, September 30. Now, remember, guys, Jamal Bowman, that name ring a bell?
Oh, yeah.
This was the last time that the House had to vote on a bill to keep the government from shutting down, and they had hours to go. Jamal Bowman was the guy, the fruitcake, who pulled the fire.
Pulled the fire alarm, yeah.
The fire alarm, yeah. He thought it was to open a door, the same door that he's gone through 100 times. And he knows what a fire alarm looks like because he built and ran a school. He was the principal there, and they had the same kind of fire alarms all over the damn place. So,
not to mention fire drills.
Yes, he did fire drills all the time. But so it turns out that they will do anything, the Democrats. This is why this is such a momentous occasion, because they'll do anything to make the Republicans look like they shut it down. So he wanted to inconvenience the House from voting by pulling the fire alarm, right? He thought that they would be outside, that the fire department would come. Then people would say, we got to go home right now because it's late already, and all that bullshit. All right. So for Schumer to do this, that's really something. That's a big deal. Hey, Vamps, what's going on?
Couldn't look better on a bigger twit.
Oh, I know. And now he's out. He lost his seat. It's like we have a perfect storm here.
So he lost his seat? Wait a minute.
Oh, he lost his seat. Yes, he did. And when he lost his primary, and then he lost the seat because he didn't run, but he lost the primary.
Oh, you're not talking about Chuck Schumer.
Oh, no.
No.
I'm talking about Jamal Bowman
Jamal Bowman. Okay, I knew that. Somehow I thought you were talking about Chuck Schumer, but I heard that AOC is thinking of going up against him.
Schumer?
Yeah.
In the Senate?
Yeah.
No, never happened. Never happened.
She wants to be the Senate Democrat leader, and then that leads her to a presidential run.
It's always good to have dreams.
Yes, there you go.
It's always good. Yeah, AOC is a joke. You're exactly right. So when AOC goes into a bar.
There you go. That's the punchline right there. Yeah.
I know. Crazy, huh? All right, here we go. So now House Dems are melting down over Schumer caving on the government shutdown. All right, it's a town hall. House Democrats are livid. They're outraged. The progressive grassroots. Oh, get out of here. The progressive grassroots are aghast. Senator Chuck U. Schumer, after taking a victory lap after the first cloture vote on the House GOP's continuing resolution, CR, which would fund the government for another 6 months, totally caved yesterday. Let me ask you guys something. How many here, show of hands, how many here have to do your budget so that you got to figure things out so that for the next 6 months you can get by? Now, out of anybody who does, how many of you have hundreds of billions of dollars to spend and you still have to do that? These people got brass balls. If you watch my video today, speaking of that, Dr. Jade, did you like my little cartoons there with the box and the money?
Yeah. I guess it was okay. It was a little odd.
I always use that example because when I first heard it, it was who the hell was it? It was Wilkow, Andrew Wilkow from the Wilkow Majority. He said it. I just made up the pics and all that, but he had said it one time, like maybe 12 years ago when I was listening to him, and I'm like, holy shit, that's the best way to explain to a libnut, that not putting money up, not taking revenue in does not affect spending at all. It doesn't. Spending affects spending, right? So, because they always try to say, how are you going to pay for that? It's going to cause a deficit. No. If you don't have the money to spend, there's not going to be a deficit, because Webster's defines a deficit as outspending your income, right? Your wages, whatever. Right? So there's that. All right. So here we go. Let me make it a little bigger. They're livid, I tell you. So it says he's going to vote to keep the government open. Republicans needed a handful of Democrat votes to get to 60. They didn't have it on Tuesday. They will soon. And Schumer and now Fetterman, and now I'm still going to do everything I can to get his ass out because he voted against two people I wanted to be confirmed, announcing they'd support keeping the government open. Schumer will get pummeled. This is Rachel Bade. Schumer will get pummeled by the left for this decision, and he is. But make no mistake about it, he's trying to save the party from making a mistake. Hard to see a way out of the shutdown for Dems. And notably, he's the only Dem leader who has been willing to tell his party what they need to know. We don't need to go further. So for once, House Democrats are angrier with their own party than Donald Trump. You got to love it. It's ironic. The liberal media and the Democrats expected GOP disarray and chaos. They expected them to be a bunch of pussies like they usually are, but they're not anymore. And this shutdown fight sparked a civil war among themselves. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Nina Pinta Santa Maria Cortez, who Schumer is rumored to be wary of regarding a primary challenge.
See, told you.
I know. Might have been, but it'll never happen. Might have been given the push she needs to plan on that front. He would get her into a dark room with a bag over her head and tape over her mouth and her hands tied behind her back with a spotlight. They'd rip it off and say, if you want this to be the rest of your life, go ahead and run. And she'll be a little coward and run out. I'm telling you, Schumer doesn't play. He doesn't play. He's an evil son of a bitch. But first, she's mobilizing House Democrats against Mr. Schumer. Yeah, for the cameras. Let's see what this moron has to say. Let's see.
The point that Senator Schumer has kind of made is, the CR is bad, but a shutdown is worse. So how do you respond to that point?
That is, I cannot understate. I mean, I cannot underscore enough how incorrect that is, because what this does, what
Did she just do a badia?
voting for this CR does, is that it codifies the chaos and the reckless cuts.
It codifies
That Elon Musk has been pursuing, the robbing.
It will not be used from the moment that it's passed on ever again. It codified
Of our federal government in order to finance tax cuts for billionaires is what is happening. And that is what Senate Democrats will be empowering if they vote for the CR.
The point that.
Yeah, okay. Oy vey. Anyway, that's enough. They're going nuts. That's all we need to know.
She's a complete nutbag.
Oh, she is a nutbag. She absolutely is a nutbag. Yeah, it was Justice Democrats that put her in. It was Chunk Yogurt, his group, Justice Democrats. Here we go. Get the Chuck out of here. So this one's going to be a little better. It's from the Free Beacon, which is actually a good paper. A deep sense of outrage and betrayal. So Democrats in Congress have finally unburdened themselves from the state of disarray plaguing their party since losing the 2024 election by uniting in outrage against one of them, their own. Democratic politicians and activists are livid after Chuck U. Schumer said that he would support passage of the Republican-backed funding bill to avoid a government shutdown. Because he's afraid that the Republicans will do to him what he always did to them. So how about this? It's not even 3 months yet, technically over. And Trump got a 180 in Washington politics. That's mind-boggling. It's all Trump, too. Because he's the one, he just flexed it and the Republicans fall in line, which they should, because all the policies he wants to do are great. They're great for us. Democratic leaders in the House of Representatives released a blistering statement in response to Schumer's announcement. Quote, the far-right, everybody's far-right on that side. They never say Republican. It's always far-right conservative, far-right Republican, far-right Nazi. No such thing. The far-right Republican funding bill will unleash havoc on everyday Americans. Nah, not really. Maybe life's losers that, look, I do want a safety net, okay? I want a system with a safety net, but not a safety fucking hammock. They've turned a safety net into a safety hammock. We can't have a safety hammock because it costs us too much money. House Democrats will not be complicit. The 6-month funding measure narrowly passed the GOP-controlled House earlier this week. It narrowly passed. I don't give a shit. It passed. Congressman Jared Golden of Maine was the only Democrat who voted in favor. Well, good for him. Senators have until the end of the day on Friday to approve the measure before funding runs out. Cortez vowed to mobilize her social media fans in an effort. Yeah, they're going to mobilize on social media in an effort to force a government shutdown, slamming Schumer for his decision to completely roll over and give up on protecting the Constitution. So in other words, they want a shutdown. This stupid idiot, because they always say, we don't want a shutdown. It's those evil Republicans. They hate you. They can't stand you. Trump is Hitler, but now she's saying they try to completely roll protecting. They want a shutdown. There was a deep sense of outrage and betrayal among her Democratic colleagues in the House. She told reporters on Thursday, some of them are so infuriated by Schumer's actions. According to CNN, they've started using AOC to run against him. Wow, urging. They'll run against him in the Democratic primary. See, that's where it came from. You better run against him. You could beat him. You could do it. Right? They've never seen people so mad. Yeah, they'll get over it. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries declined to answer, because he's not stupid, on Friday when asked if it was the time for a new leadership in the Senate. Next question, he said. Yeah, he's not going to step on that. Schumer's colleagues in the Senate were similarly aggrieved. They're very aggrieved. A number of them released statements Thursday denouncing the Republican plan to keep the government open. Lisa Blunt, Rochester of Delaware, called it a dirty deal. Andy Kim of New Jersey called it a disaster for democracy. These people, holy shit. So they found trillions in savings, which means that Doge did its job, which means that they don't have to bloat the government anymore, and they can't stand it. Because like in my video today, I pointed out, when they say, how are you going to pay for that tax cut? You don't. You don't have to pay for tax cuts. Tax cuts do not cause deficits, spending more than you have. So when they say that, when they say, how are you going to spend it? What they're telling you is, hey, I'm going to spend money on these programs that I'm going to use as a cudgel to get me, votes and to win elections. I'm going to buy elections by spending your tax dollars. And you're taking that shit away from me. I don't like it. That's what they're really telling you. That they're going to spend your money no matter what, and somehow they're going to get it. So damn it, you're not going to keep what you want. Screw that. Mark Kelly of Arizona slammed Schumer for refusing to stand up for what is right for the country. John Ossoff, rhymes with, of Georgia suggested the Democratic leader was failing to fulfill his obligation to uphold the Constitution. His obligation to uphold the Constitution is to intentionally force a government shutdown? These people are nuts. Robert Gallego of Arizona accused Schumer of endorsing a grab bag of extreme policies there's no extreme policies in it that would harm American families. Jesus Christ. I love how they twist everything around. The fact that American families are going to be able to keep more of their own money because we don't have to spend as much money now, right? Because they're shutting down all these agencies. They're firing all these employees that are just extra dead weight, right? That means that according to the video today, I keep pushing it. Sorry, guys. But according to the video today, Trump literally wants to end the income tax for people making under $150,000 a year. That's your
Rich,
middle.
I'll be right back.
Families.
I'll be right back. I got to let the dog out. I'll be right back.
Michael Bennett of Colorado lashed out during a private meeting, attacking leadership for having no strategy, no plan, and no message. Yeah. All right. Bite me. Hey, what's up, Lou? What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Oh, you're in the casino? Oh, cool. Which casino? Atlantic City, New Jersey. Nice, dude. You're in AC. I haven't been to AC in a couple years. Yeah, she let the dogs out. I can hear the dog being let out. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, RFK. We'll do that one. RFK, man, I knew he was going to do this too, and I love it. All right, RFK tells food companies to remove artificial dyes or face consequences. All right, it's from Breitbart. So food companies were told by U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on Monday he wants artificial dyes stripped from their products. And they're going to sue. We want to keep putting poison in your food. Kennedy has pledged to tackle chronic illnesses by overhauling the U.S. diet and food dye elimination as part of his plan for reform. He has encouraged fast food chains to switch to beef tallow, which I heard tastes pretty good, instead of seed oils for French fries, and pushed for bans on additives like food colors, as Breitbart reported before. At a closed-door Washington gathering, which included the CEOs of Kellogg's, Smucker's, and General Mills, Kennedy said it is a top priority of the Trump administration to rid America's food of artificial dyes. And why not? They do it for other countries, right? Like I heard in Canada, they don't like Fruit Loops. Like the colors are slightly less because they use real fruit juice instead of chemicals, these dyes, right? Maybe that's why, part of the reason why a lot of people are sick in America. President CEO penned a memo. ABC. Okay, Hochstad addressed the memo to consumer brand members, CEOs. The secretary made clear his intention to take actions unless the industry is willing to be proactive with solutions. Well, I think they should. Let's see how long.
For 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed.
This is when
God
would
put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country. On August 23rd of last year, God sent me President Trump, and he gave me God. He's now given me, he's kept every promise that he's made to me. He's kept his word in every account and gone way beyond it. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. President. A lot of people told me that I couldn't trust President Trump, that I better get it in writing. And we did a handshake, and everything that he told me he was going to do, he has done.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful to him. And I've told you before, I genuinely believe that you are a pivotal historical figure.
He is.
And you are going to transform this country at a time when we see all of the indicia of democracy now in tatters in our country. We see the rise of the military-industrial complex, the rise of totalitarianism, these attacks on our Constitution, and this breathtaking epidemic that is disabling our people. President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream, that they get better. President Trump has promised that he's going to restore America's strength. But we can't be a strong nation if we have a weak citizenry.
That's right. And his uncle knew the same thing. JFK, remember JFK went on the kick of people exercising. Remember he did that whole thing? Well, I wasn't alive. I was just a filthy thought at the time, but that's what he did. He had a lot of people out exercising, and they filmed it and they put it on TV, and showed people. It was a real big thing about health. So his family's always been into that. Still full. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, my dog is more articulate. When my dog barks and says, "I need to go out," that's easier than Joe Biden asking where the bathroom is. Seriously, because you would never.
At least you understand the dog.
Exactly. All right. Jay, do you want to do the honors?
Well, no, the one you put up has a video, and I can't put videos up.
Oh, okay. Oh, because I wanted to play my new intro to you.
Next week.
All right, I'll do it.
Next week.
Okay, next week. Okay.
Yeah, you got to hook me up so I can play videos, so I can share my screen.
Yeah. You know what? I contacted them and they said no. There's only 2 logins. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm sorry. Share this instead. So
This is great.
This
is great.
Did I do the right thing? No, I didn't. Hold on. Is that it? Oh yeah. Hold on. Here we go. I got to get the volume up. Yeah. So I thought this was
This is the feel-good story of the week. Remember?
But I thought this was an article. Let me find the actual article. Because Stephen A. Smith is doing. Hold on.
Yeah, because what you have here is basically
yeah, I must have put the wrong link up.
a link to an X video.
Yeah, here we go. I got it here. Okay, let me do. Where is it? Come on. Okay. So let's bring this up. Yeah, this is a great story, guys, for America. There we go. So Trump praised for biggest accomplishment after Rosie O'Donnell self-deports. All right, let's do this. Are they going to do something actually? No, I don't think they are. Oh man, you would think that there would be. Oh wow, you would think there would be an actual story here. Hang on. I will find the actual story because I
saw a couple of places where there was a story, but anyway, Rosie O'Donnell,
right,
who suffers from the highest level of Trump derangement syndrome.
I would say she's
recorded.
an 11. I would say she's an 11. Do you concur?
Yeah, it's never been seen before, but
she's a doctor.
She's an 11.
She's a doctor.
It's an 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the first case of an 11 in the wild that's been recorded. And so she decided to take her and her bad attitude, and I guess her grandparents are Irish, so she's applying for an Irish passport.
Right.
So all I can say is take all your friends with you.
Rosie O'Donnell
Here we go.
fled America after Trump's victory, but she hasn't escaped President Trump's humorous wrath.
Ireland is known for very happy, fun-loving people. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? I think she's going to lower your happiness level.
Look at Trump.
Thank you. I like that question.
Do you know you have Rosie O'Donnell? Do you know who she is? Do you know who she is? Yeah.
He's the one that he called her a dog. And I remember that in the first primary when Megyn Kelly said, "You're known for calling women dogs, pigs." And he's like, "Only Rosie O'Donnell." And the whole audience lost it. She even laughed.
You're better off not knowing.
Fox News contributor Joe Concha joins me now. Joe, we know celebrities always threaten to leave the country because of Trump, but Rosie actually followed through with it. So credit to her. Trump's loving it, though, Joe.
Guys, what is up with her glasses? What are those things? It looks like she belongs in a submarine for some reason. I don't know.
No, the face looks like
look at Todd,
the face looks like what?
The face looks like it was frozen in some sort of terror pose.
Resting bitch face too. But think about this too. It looks like she's constipated. Does it not? Like she doesn't give a shit. Right?
She doesn't look happy.
She doesn't look well. Yeah, she doesn't look
does
happy
not look happy.
Yeah.
This is not a well woman.
Trump in his first 7 weeks in office. One can make the argument that the border going from as high as 10,000 border crossings a day under Joe Biden going to virtually non-existent. That's arguably a big one. But when you consider that Trump compelled Rosie O'Donnell to self-deport out of the
I love that he's comparing. He's comparing 10,000 illegals a day coming over the border to the bigger thing of getting her
country. It's hard to say that is not the biggest accomplishment for Trump 2.0. And overall, Trump has just seemed so relaxed and jovial in public situations. When
I saw the jokes come out, Jade, where on Twitter where they're saying breaking Ireland puts $250 tax on booze until we take Rosie back.
You compare him to his first term, Todd, which was a time where he wasn't necessarily comfortable with his cabinet and his team around him. He was dogged by the whole Russia collusion hoax. But this relaxed demeanor often comes out in the form of comedy. And as we saw at the joint session earlier this month, it's often quite hilarious. So when you juxtapose that with Democrats who are, when they're not singing, come across as angry, as old, unhinged, zero humor. It's quite the telling contrast, Todd.
Joe, I know you have a list of other people that you think Trump would like to have self-deport, but I'm going to spare you from yourself. I don't want you to have an uncomfortable meeting with management today. Just keep that one in your back pocket, Concha. Keep it in there.
All right. That's good.
Yeah, hey, listen, if I had known, I'd have contributed to your plane ticket.
Oh, yeah. Hey, what's up, Ludwig? How you doing? Oh, speaking of plane tickets, guys, I'm going to Texas on Sunday. Yeah, I'm coming back late Monday night. So no videos. Probably no videos. I'll see if I can do one after the stream for tomorrow. I'll see if I can. But I won't be doing videos because I can't do them from the airplane. I may do, when I hit Texas, I may do like some videos and then put them up. But I won't be able to because I'll be flying most of the time.
Just do like everybody else does. Just do one from your phone.
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do. But that's it. So, all your exes live in Texas. All right, that's a good name of a song. All my exes live in Texas. They're bigger and better. That's cool. Yeah, I'm going to Austin area. My son's getting married. So here we go. What's next? So the Rosie bit is done. That's nice. Let's do. Let's do the MSNBC story. Rachel Madcow. Yeah, Rachel. Yeah, exactly. Rachel Madcow. Here we go, guys. MSNBC in crisis. Rachel Maddow lost a quarter of her viewers since Trump's victory. MSNBC host Rachel Maddow suffered a dramatic loss in viewership, all three of them, since President Donald Trump claimed victory in the 2024 election. Anyone with half a brain cell knows exactly why this happened. For years, Maddow has been race baiting, calling millions of Americans fascists and pushing the fake Russia collusion hoax, right? Now it looks like the chickens are finally coming home to roost. Trump's election victory was the final straw for Madcow. No longer can she pretend that she's talking to the majority when, in fact, she's spouting her unhinged leftist propaganda rants, my word, to a shrinking echo chamber. I remember right before the election, you remember this, Jade, where she was saying she was going on a panel of other MSNBC lunatics shows, and saying, yes, I fear that Donald Trump will have me arrested and take me to a FEMA camp.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I
It's
was like, this
really?
woman thinks she's so much more important. He probably doesn't even know who she is.
I was going to say she thinks a lot of herself, doesn't she?
Yes. I mean, going to put him in a FEMA camp. Are you kidding me? Maddow's show has shed a whopping quarter of her viewers since Trump's win. From January 2024 until Election Day, Rachel Maddow show averaged 2.3 million viewers. However, it's since shed 22%, dropping to an average of 1.8. And that's, guys, that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing from Trump's victory. So here we go. Fox News reports the decline is even more dramatic among the advertiser-coveted demographic, which is the 25 to 54, as the Rachel Maddow show lost 29%. You lose 30%, or it's a third of that category. Let's see. When comparing her post-election day audience to 2024's total before Trump's decisive win over then Vice President Kamala Harris. Maddow also dropped 24% among both total viewers and the key demo when comparing the first 2 months of 2025 to her audience during the first 2 months of 2024, indicating that MSNBC viewers aren't as interested as they were when former President Biden occupied the White House. As we reported, we being Daily Fetched, as we reported earlier this month, Maddow is even facing the possibility of being fired. I'm shocked she wasn't already. They got rid of Wagner, Alex Wagner, I think her name was. They got rid of Joyless Reed and some other.
Did you hear Maddow's screed about them firing Joy Reid?
Joy Reid. Oh my God!
And she's going on and being a big shot and ripping into MSNBC. Okay, you're sitting there in prime time, basically crapping on your employer.
Right.
And she's still working? How is she still working?
Oh, I know. She was trashing her people. Well, Joy Reid did it when they got rid of that other woman, Tanya. Oh, I forget her name. I did a video. It was the largest. I got 9,000 views on that one video. It was the largest I had at the time. She basically called her employers racist. You're right, Jeff.
Yeah.
Basically called, hey, Spanish chicken, what's up, man? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. But, and she still had a job. I'm shocked she still has a job now. God,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like crazy, man. She still has a job. Here, I want to listen to what. Let's see. I want to listen to what he has to say. What's his name? Is this it? Yeah, it is. All right, let's see what. Whenever Miller talks, I like to listen to it. Let's see what he has to say.
Well, President Trump just keeps racking up the wins, huh, Sean? President Trump has gotten Rosie O'Donnell to self-deport from the United States of America. It wasn't explicitly one of our campaign promises, but it is a major first 100-day achievement, Sean. So you are welcome, America. Thanks to President Trump, Rosie O'Donnell has self-deported. You don't have to worry about that problem anymore.
That's awesome. Oh, man. It's funny how everybody's treating it like, well, this is just a major accomplishment.
And don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out.
I know. Hey, Jeremiah, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Good to see everybody here. Let's see. Next. This one will kill you. So, wow. This, I got to be honest, this one pissed me off. Fucking Joe Biden.
What are we doing?
So, immigration accounted for all, not some, not most, all U.S. population growth in 2022 and 2023, the first time since 1850. The U.S. immigrant population grew by 1.6 million people while birth rates dropped. Wow. Let's make it better.
Yeah, because in first world countries, birth rates are dropping all over the world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, liberalism. Yeah. So that's why I keep saying, that's like a dying attitude to push abortion. Constantly push abortion for everybody. I saw it had to be doctored, but I saw it was like a rally for abortion, and this woman had her daughter, like her young daughter, and had her arm around her. She's holding a sign that says, I'm fighting to give my daughter the right to abortion that I never had. What? That's a real way to tell your child you love her, right?
Okay. Whoa. Okay.
I know.
You're standing in front of your child.
Yes.
Okay. That's your child.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It had to be like they had to fix it. Like somebody had to make a meme out of it.
This mother is saying to her child, you should be able to have an abortion. I wasn't able to, so whoa, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, let me see if I can find that. Hold on.
I don't care what side of the argument you're on. That's just like so low. How could a mother even think like that?
Yeah, I know. Where is it? Saying is fighting. That she didn't have. Let's see. Well, there's one there, but that's not the one that I'm talking about. Yeah, it says, oh, they did change it because it says, I want my daughter to have the right to abortion that I didn't have, but it really says, soy mama de la niña que jamás was etacat.
If you bring it up, I'll translate it for you if I can.
Oh, yeah, sure. I can bring it up. Let's see. We'll share this tab instead. It's right over here. Let's see. Share this tab instead. They're saying it's fake. So, yeah, that is the one. They had fake over the kid's face, so I didn't see. So it's saying soy mama de la niña. Your mother of, what is la niña? I forget what la niña is. The storm?
La niña is a girl.
Yeah, all right, niña.
Yeah. I'm the mother of the girl that you are never going to touch.
Oh, okay. There you go. So, but they put, I want my daughter to have the right to abortion. So that's why I was saying I didn't know if it was fake or not. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that would have been pretty bad if it was real. But I thought it was funny anyway. But here you go. So all U.S. population growth from 2022 and 2023 happened because of immigration. The thing I question here, NBC, why didn't they say illegal immigration? Because legal immigration between 2022 and 2023 was existent, but compared to between 18 and 20 million, or I'm sorry, 11 and 20 million illegals coming through in 4 years. Holy cow. Now, not birth, the first time since 1850. The immigration growth has happened as U.S. birth rates have fallen. The Migration Policy Institute reported as part of its latest edition. Now, see, a lot of people are going to say, well, Biden tried to bring them in to grow our population so that we could have an economy and yada, yada. No. It was for power. They wanted, they had all the blue state. Well, most of the states that lost a congressional seat due to losing population because they ran from their states to go to the freedom of red states, they want to get their congressman back and their elector. You lose a congressman and an elector for every congressman you lose. So they brought out this shitload of people and they scattered them all over the country, caused chaos, mayhem, and murder, right? And then they were like California, they were going to say, hey, we give free health care to you illegals. And they all, they migrate to that state. And then when, what is it now? 5 years from now, when the census comes again, then they're going to have all those people because that schmuck, John Roberts, right, the Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts said that the Democrats were allowed to count illegal aliens as in the census. So that's what they were doing. They wanted to, and plus is another thing a lot of people don't even talk about on the news. I use that word sparingly. That you get grants. A state gets federal and state, like the state gets federal grants and counties get state grants based on population. So even if you have like 2/3 of the population of your county are illegal aliens, guess what? They're counted and you get money. All right. So they didn't want to lose the money. So they wanted to bring the illegals in, and that's why they brought them in. The immigrant population grew by 1.6 million between 2022 and 2023, reaching a record high of 47.8 million in 2023, according to the analysis. That's about a 3.6% population increase, the largest annual growth since 2010, the Institute stated. However, the foreign-born percentage of the U.S. population is 14.3%. That puts it slightly below the 14.8% registered in 1890. Nearly three-quarters, 73% of immigrants in the U.S. are legally present, and almost half are naturalized citizens. I don't believe that for a second. 3/4 of immigrants immigrants, yeah, but what about the illegal immigrants? In addition,
that presumes we have an accurate count of illegal immigrants.
Right. Yeah, and you don't. What about all the gotaways? And you know what else? They're not sitting there with a clicker. All right, go ahead through. Yeah, go ahead. All right, you're there. Oh, wait, hold on, stop. Okay, go ahead. They're not doing that shit, right? Half of them, they didn't screen any of them for measles, right? Because we got the measles outbreak now, right? Well, where do you think you got them from? Third world pauper countries. So they didn't know where half of them were. They brought them in however they got them here, by plane, by bus, whatever, right? They brought them in, and then they put them on planes in the middle of the night, like Pablo Escobar. Just dropped them off. I'm surprised the plane stopped to get them out of there because they had to get them all over the country. I mean, think about what they did. Holy cow. So basically, they're saying that the majority of them that came in during those 2 years, holy mackerel. It was immigration, not born. Hey, 42. What's up? Good to see you, sir. Hey, Billy. How you doing? Paca. Wow. The whole gang's here. God, I love you guys. Awesome. Thank you, guys, and welcome. So what's the next one? We went over a lot already. So let's see. Rachel Maddow. Here's the most dangerous. Yeah, we'll do this one to get the front ones out of the way. So the most dangerous judge. Yeah, she's an activist. Like what I've been pointing out is these activist judges are doing this shit because of the simple fact that the Democrats lost all power, so they're getting the judges to do it. Now, in my video the other day, I pointed out that Trump, his administration, is getting around these judges, and one of the examples was Mahmoud Khalil, who was a 22-year-old Muslim who came on a green card. He had a legal green card to go to college. All right, it was in New York, I believe it was New York, and he went to college. And it turns out that he was the one that got all those Palestinian Hamas supporters to start tearing up, the campus and screaming, doing all the bullshit that they do, which is why people don't like them. And he started chanting things, pro-Hamas stuff at these rallies, and death to the Western world. So they deported him. So they got him. The Trump administration grabbed him up. Homan, his people grabbed him up, and they were going to deport him. But then, just on cue, a New York judge stepped in and said, nope, you're not going to be able to do that because I want a hearing and I want legal representation on both sides. In other words, I want to stretch this out for a year. And that way, other people can use it as a precedent, even though it's not a case that's settled. But they'll say, oh, he did it. I can do it too, right? So the Trump administration got around that. They got around that by taking this guy, right? ICE took this guy, Khalil, and flew him to a federal prison in Louisiana, which is a solid red state. Now, what does that mean? That means that the judge in New York no longer has jurisdiction. So his bullshit is done, right? And you're going to be hell-bent, or hell will freeze over before you find a judge inside solid red Louisiana that's going to do something like this. So that's what you're doing. But there's this other thing that's going on. And let me pull up. I know you're not supposed to pull your own story up, but I'm going to pull mine up because I didn't put this other half in the video, but this is it's real important to understand how Trump is actually kicking their asses. So let me share this one instead. So it's Trump outsmarts left-wing judges again with 4D chess, legal 4D chess. So I do the Camille thing, but then I have down here, I says, where are we? Now, this is really cool. Trump's Justice Department, led by Pam Bondi, has formally asked the Supreme Court, wait till you hear this, to overturn a century-old ruling. This is important, guys. If you want to know how these bastard judges are getting away with what they're doing, this is it, and Trump's going to end it, hopefully. So Pam Bondi asked the Supreme Court to overturn a century-old ruling that has been the left's go-to tool for blocking presidential authority, not just Trump, but other presidents, and they're doing it through bullshit, like they always do. So it's called Humphrey's Executor versus United States 1935. There was a guy named Humphreys, right? Humphrey. And he was pushing this case, and he died while the case was still being considered by the Supreme Court. So his executor took it over. That's why it's called Humphrey's Executor. Okay. So what is it and why does it matter? Back in 1935, stay with me, guys. The Supreme Court decided that the president couldn't fire officials from independent government agencies at will. Now, my argument on that is bullshit, because the president of the United States, according to Article 1, Section 1, he is the he is the chief executive of the executive branch. There's no such thing as an independent government agency. Okay. So one of these agencies that they were dealing with was the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, which the ruling conveniently declared not part of the executive branch. Then who the hell is paying them, right? So the president gets to hire people that are the officers that are going to run these agencies. So the one is the Federal Trade Commission, but he can't fire them? Bullshit. And the argument by the libnuts was that, well, it doesn't say in the Constitution that he can fire them. So if you have all cylinders burning on a triple-digit IQ, you know that if he can hire them, he can fire them, right? So meaning the president had no direct control over it. So the court, and this was Roosevelt, I believe, the court took it away from the presidency, the right to fire certain officers that he hired. How were they able to do that? They weren't. They just did it out of deference to the judiciary. No one has ever cried foul. That is until now. What they did was they said there's an overlap in the FTC between there are people from the judiciary that work there and people from the executive branch. So they're going to give them a pass, right? The whole thing, I'm going to read it off. The whole thing sounds ridiculous, right? That's because it is. The FTC is absolutely an executive agency, yet this ruling has been used time and time again to undermine presidential authority. Here's how. Because these judges, okay, so if we look at the ruling, it says, okay, so the president can fire, he may fire officers in these agencies that he's hired, except for the FTC. But these judges, these I call them Jacobins in black robes, these sons of bitches are like, if they want to stop Trump from firing someone in, say, Department of Education or Department of Transportation, right? They'll say, oh, no, Supreme Court, Humphrey's Executive v. United States, 1935 says that you don't have the authority to do that. But no other president had the balls to come back and go, wait a minute. We've read that order, and it says the FTC only. This guy doesn't work for the FTC. He works for whatever. That's what the problem is. The judges have been bullshitting by saying, oh, no, we have a precedent. It's settled law. It's not settled law because Trump's actually fighting it. Now, Trump's Justice Department has had enough. They're taking the fight to, you know why? Because when Democrat presidents, Democrat administrations are in, they put in all the lefty lunatics like Pete Buttigieg. Does anybody here, show of hands, anybody here think that Pete Buttigieg should have been anywhere near an administration, let alone the transportation department? He can't even fix the fucking potholes in Indiana, in his little town, right? So Trump is taking this fight to the Supreme Court, demanding that this outdated ruling be overturned and full executive authority restored, finally allowing presidents to fire entrenched bureaucrats who have been hiding behind this legal loophole, and it's a false loophole. So they're waiting for the showdown. But here's what's going to happen. There are already, well, let me read it. This could all come to a head by June or July of this year when the Supreme Court is expected to rule on the matter. And guess what? There are already at least 4 justices leaning towards striking down Humphrey's executor. If that happens, you get ready for fireworks because this is what will happen. Trump's executive power is fully restored. Judicial activism against the president is effectively over. And this is future presidents, right? Left-wing lawsuits designed to obstruct MAGA policies will disappear, and left-wing activists start wetting their pants. I added that one for fun. Okay, we don't need. Well, yeah, I want to show. I'm going to play this because this is on the Khalil, the guy on the left here. That's Khalil. That's Mahmoud Khalil or Mahmoud, whatever you want to say. But I want to show again how she handles this. She's brilliant.
Right for the American public to prevent a government shutdown.
Just the last question here on Mahmoud Khalil. Does the administration believe that it needs to charge a green card holder with a crime to be eligible for deportation?
Well, in fact, Secretary Rubio reserves the right to revoke the visa of Mahmoud Khalil. And I'm glad you brought this up. Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the Secretary of State has the right to revoke a green card or a visa for individuals who serve or are adversarial to the foreign policy and national security interests of the United States of America. And Mahmoud Khalil was an individual who was given the privilege of coming to this country to study at one of our nation's finest universities and colleges. And he took advantage of that opportunity, of that privilege, by siding with terrorists, Hamas terrorists who have killed innocent men, women, and children. This is an individual who organized group protests that not only disrupted college campus classes and harassed Jewish American students and made them feel unsafe on their own college campus, but also distributed pro-Hamas propaganda, flyers with the logo of Hamas. That is what the behavior and activity that this individual engaged in. And I have those flyers on my desk. They were provided to me by the Department of Homeland Security. I thought about bringing them into this briefing room to share with all of you, but I didn't think it was worth the dignity of this room to bring that pro-Hamas propaganda. Right. But that's what this individual distributed on the campus of Columbia University. And this administration is not going to tolerate individuals having the privilege of studying in our country and then siding with pro-terrorist organizations that have killed Americans. We have a zero tolerance policy for siding with terrorists, period.
Right. Now, guys, if I could play the Top Gun theme song right now, I would, but I'd probably get a copyright strike, but I would.
You would.
She just handled that like a boss. I mean, I'm sorry. She just handled it like a boss. She said, basically, our administration's not going to put up with the bullshit that previous administrations did. You start promoting Hamas, which is probably the most disgusting of all the terrorist groups out there. And then you start, well, she didn't mention that he also was throwing propaganda out there saying that Western civilization has to die. I mean, F you, get the hell out. Get out, right? So that's what that was. So let's see, what else? So, yeah, let's go back. Or no, we already read that one. Okay. So, yeah, it's important.
I think we've read all the ones with the pictures.
Right.
Can I go to the top of your list?
Yeah. So, my point on that last one was that if Trump wins this, well, if America wins this case, and it's looking like it will, unless Amy Coney Barrett goes against again, but there's 4 justices that are for it already. Because you can tell by the way that they made arguments and against oral arguments that they argued back. You can tell that they're like, yeah, and plus we have Clarence Thomas, who went out on a tour when he did a tour giving speeches some years ago, and he said we have to stop federal district judges from doing this stuff. They can't interfere with the president. I think it was under Trump 1.0. He said you can't go out there and argue against the president having Article 2 authority. And he said there's got to be some kind of punishment, if you will. That's not the word he used, but there's got to be some kind of punishment for them when they start doing this crap. All right. So, here's one. Let me bring it up first. Multiple conservative influencers are being swatted. Now, this is Democrats, right? You hear, the insurrection, all that bullshit. But look at this; they're getting them swatted, which you could be killed if the cops are up there and they think that there's a guy in there like with a gun or he's slashing people dead and he go bursting through and you don't know what's up and you go to grab your gun because you don't know who they are, you could die from that shit. And they don't
Now,
care.
people actually have.
Oh, yeah, I know. So multiple conservative influencers swatted in the past few days. And this was done today or yesterday. So 5 conservative influencers have been swatted in recent days as Democrats ramp up their invectives against President Donald Trump and Doge chief Elon Musk amid their work to downsize the government and eliminate fraud, waste, fraud, and abuse. It says update overnight, 2 more conservatives. So there's 7 now. Swatting is a form of domestic terrorism where someone makes a false report to emergency services, often targeting a political opponent, leading to a police special weapons and SWAT team or other law enforcement response at the victim's location. The malicious tactic can and has led to fatalities. The victims this week include InfoWars reporter Chase Geyser, conservative talk show host Joe Pags is awesome, political commentator Gunther Eagleman. I follow him on Twitter, on X. He's pretty awesome too. Independent Nick Surter is also really good journalist, independent journalist, and Trump impersonator Sean Farash. Now, why would they go after a Trump impersonator? For goodness sake. U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Ed Martin, released a statement Thursday night following the series of swatting. Swatting is a violent criminal act, he posted on X. If any perpetrators are discovered in the District of Columbia or originate from here, you will be arrested. We will put you in jail and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. But see, these libnuts, they're not going to stop until somebody is prosecuted and put in jail. They'll just keep doing it. Nothing stops them. They're lunatics. Geyser was swatted twice within a 12-hour period. The first time Tuesday afternoon and again early Wednesday morning, just after 2 a.m. He described the first incident on the Alex Jones show, noting that he and his family weren't at home when the police showed up at his house. Geyser said that he met police in his driveway. They were still receiving 311 message or 311. I thought it was 311 messages about his property. So there was a campaign of swatting my property, he told Jones. After the second incident, the InfoWars reporter posted on X that 6 to 8 police officers used a PA system to call me by name and order me to walk out of my house. I was handcuffed in the middle of the street, presumably at gunpoint, though I couldn't tell because of the light being shined on my face. I was then led into the house where my wife was woken up, and we were informed that they received a call from someone pretending to be me and threatening to kill my family. Now, Joe Pags, he's always been a great talk show guy. Conservative talk show host Joe Pags was also swatted early Wednesday morning. According to Pags' show website, the talk show host was alerted by a security notification on his phone. Checking his outdoor camera, he saw a chilling sight, an armed man at his front door. In that moment, his adrenaline kicked in. Thinking quickly, he dialed 911. Yeah, we got people outside. Yeah, the cops are there. No, they're not. Can you imagine? Where the operator confirmed his fears. Someone had made a fake report triggering the heavy police response. So in other words, leftists are a piece of shit. And I think, hey, what's up, Commander? Good to see you, man. Let's see, where is there he is. Okay, I can get him there. Sorry. Nah, you're okay, man. We've only been, oh wow, it's been an hour 15 so far. How about that? Cool. All right. So what do you think about the swatting, Jade?
Yeah, I've seen this has been going on for years.
Oh yeah.
And it's usually
conservative.
It's I've seen reports of people do it because they lost a video game to somebody else.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too.
And the thing is, you said a few minutes ago they won't do it until something happens. Well, that's the whole point. Is all of these people are expecting to do all this, and everybody's going to say, "Oh well, that's just you. You're okay." It's different when we do it.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right. But these little shits need to have something happen.
Yeah. So my understanding is that they really are going after these people. Hey, Commander. And Yeah, I mean, I hope they throw some of them in jail because,
I hope
yeah,
they make a big ass spectacle out of it too.
Yeah, they've killed people.
Oh
And
yeah.
the thing is, these no-brain, petulant assholes.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh well, I didn't like them anyway. You know,
Yeah.
that's it. It's like, oh well.
Yeah, but they act with impunity because they know that in the. I mean, think about this. There was a story. Is it one of our stories? Hold on, the one with RPW Media. No, I didn't write it. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. There was agreement. Blue states, left wing groups. Nah, there was a story that Steve wrote. They arrested or they fired. I'm sorry, they fired two people, two high ups from FEMA, going all the way back to the North Carolina hurricane. Remember where FEMA ordered their agents to ignore houses that had Trump signs?
If you have Trump signs on them, yeah.
Just let's think about the magnitude of that. We had a fucking president, okay, who regardless of who voted for him, you're supposed to protect everybody in the country, and these people paid taxes for FEMA, right? Your taxes go towards everything, right? So we had a president who said, "Don't help people in the toughest time of their lives if they have a Trump sign on the front lawn."
Well, you know, he actually had plausible deniability. Well, for two reasons. Number one,
he's brain dead.
The man, he's just not there.
Yeah.
And number two, it was not him specifically.
Yeah.
It was.
What's up, Billy?
It was his deep state operatives.
Right.
The bureaucracy, and they're just used to doing what they want, and as long as they're upholding leftist causes, nothing happens to them.
Well, the woman that was in the field, who admitted it, she said, "Look, I got her boss, right? So it was a person in charge." She said, "I got the notice to ignore houses with that." So I would be like, I would get her in court and say, "So you just did that?" "Well, I was only following orders." "Oh, really?"
Nuremberg defense. It's called a Nuremberg defense.
Exactly. So who else said that, right? I mean, unbelievable that they did that. But he did that kind of shit for like all the time. Yeah, he did that all the time. And what they did is they put equity into every single policy, program, and department. That's why Trump on day one wrote an executive order: get that shit out of everything. No more equity. We're done with that. Right? Because equity always it was government sanctioned racism is what it was.
Yep.
And I'll never forget in the beginning there was this thing where like for COVID, farmers were able to get money because they couldn't sell stuff, people couldn't buy stuff, right? So the farmers, they had this pool of money that was appropriated by Congress, all right? And so the Biden administration puts in there a rule saying that all black farmers had to be taken care of before white farmers could get a penny. And by the time they were done getting their payouts, there was no money left. And I just thought that was like that was just racism that was sanctioned by the federal government. And yet they still at the time were calling Trump a racist. He never did anything remotely like that. Never. You know, it boggles the mind, these people. So what's next? Let me pull it up. So
Well, your second one down, secret resistance agreement.
Yep. There we go. Yeah, this was Steve wrote this. Secret resistance agreement between blue states, left-wing groups, and New York City law firms. This is crazy, right? There they go again. The Democrats are conspiring to put lawfare into action against Doge and Elon Musk, and why not? It works so well against President Trump. There was apparently a secret agreement between 14 blue states, left-wing groups that are probably funded by USAID, right? And New York law firms looking to bury cost-cutting initiatives and allow the massive fraud that eats away on taxpayer money. Why would Democrats do that unless they're getting a big slice of the pie? Exactly. Just how stupid do they think taxpayers are? Oh, sure, many Democrat voters will be fooled, but their numbers are dwindling rapidly as the young the blacks and Hispanics, 3 groups, are moving to the right, and Trump is deporting many of the rest. Do they believe that voters will conclude that exposing fraud and waste is a bad thing, especially if they end up with $5,000 checks? Somehow, I don't think so. Doge alleges that they have already saved $105 billion in a combination of asset sales, contract lease cancellations and renegotiations, fraud and improper payment deletion, grant cancellations, interest savings, and unnecessary government employees. There are already a dozen or so lawsuits against Doge, and until the Supreme Court wakes up and follows the Constitution by recognizing that the president is in charge of the executive branch, that number will rise dramatically. That's what I'm talking about. It is within Article 2 authority for Trump to do all of this, what I just read to you. Every part of it, he can do it. See, the Democrats, they have a childlike mentality that if they don't like what Trump is doing, oh, it's got to be illegal. Oh, we have a right to that money. No, you don't. You don't have a right to shit. The agreement obtained by the Oversight Project, which is by the Heritage Foundation, was signed less than a month after Doge was created. Quote, the parties have agreed that they have a common interest in developing legal strategies to challenge the creation and actions of the government, Department of Government, especially Doge, and a common interest in existing or future investigative, regulatory, administrative, and judicial actions or inactions, including but not limited to any administrative or judicial proceedings related to or arising from those legal strategies. It's matters of common interest. So the agreement is made and entered into by and between states of New Mexico. He's going to name all these states. Is my state in there? No. Good. The parties have
Colorado's not in there.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Well, because you guys aren't nuts. But I mean, you're blue, but you're not nuts.
We're loopy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The parties have agreed that they have a common interest in developing legal strategies to challenge the creation and actions of the Doge. Now, here's the thing. Doge is not a new thing. What was it? The digital security or digital information security? It was another. They just renamed a department.
Yeah, but nobody's ever done anything like this before.
Right, but they just. I know. Like Calvin Coolidge never existed, right? But
I mean, it's certainly in my memory.
Yeah, well, Calvin Coolidge used to have, like, and as a matter of fact, Harding, he was VP and Harding was the president. Harding died, but Harding, they all said, well, he didn't want to be president. He was a lush and all that, right? Which is true, but he wanted to cut taxes. He was a big guy in cutting regulations, cutting government spending, all that shit, right? So Coolidge, when he got in, he just said, we're just going to go on steroids here. And Calvin Coolidge used to give prize awards to cabinet members who would lower their spending by 10% or more. And they would get awards in front of the rest of the cabinet. It was a big thing. And so they were just into cut. And all those cuts led to something called the Roaring 20s. Okay, because with all that less government interference, right, in the private sector was just kicking ass. Plus, at the time in the Roaring 20s, it was the last time that people could actually keep what they earned because the 16th Amendment, I always argue it was never legally ratified, but it was ratified technically. All right. And what was it? 1912. It was created that in the Federal Reserve Bank because the Federal Reserve Bank had to be created to be able to help the progressives of the day to spend all your money so they can get reelected, all that bullshit, right? So
yeah, that's past me.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Well,
I'm still listening.
No, it's all right. Yeah, but I mean, we've had decades of bullshit, but under Article 2, the president has the right to do everything that Doge is doing. They just don't like it. And then he lists like a lot of the things that they found. So that's the point. It's like, oh, it's got to be illegal. I was on a Facebook thread, and the people in there, they were friggin' delusional. I mean, these people are nuts. They were saying things like, and this was over the Ukraine shit, right? Saying Trump should be tried for treason. And you know what happens with treason. So I would just write in there, please explain how Trump committed treason. right? And then everybody, instead of answering me, everybody else defended her and started trashing me. And I'm like, would you like to answer treason? You know, like how did he defend treason? And then treason. And I was like, do you understand that Trump was the one that said, I want the war to end, and I will give you security by putting U.S. interests in Ukraine. I was like, you assholes just want to continue the war. I was like, Trump would have ended the killing. Ukrainians wouldn't die anymore. I said, but your TDS is so strong that you commit to the idea that Trump is helping Putin somehow. No, he's helping Ukraine. And here's the bigger thing that they don't understand, that the DLOP and the LLOP, I think they call them, those two regions, that there's Russians in there, and he asked.
The Donbass.
Well, Donbass, but
Donbass, and I forget the other one.
Well, yeah, well, it was Donbass and I think Elba, whatever it is, but it's the two regions that they asked Putin for protection. And he said yes. So here's the thing: that mining contract, the agreement that the United States government was going to go into with the Ukrainian government, they were mining in those regions. Okay, so if they were going into those regions, then how could Russia attack attack Ukraine with the United States in there? So it would have given those regions back to Ukraine, right?
Yeah, and
it's security all the way around.
The first thing Trump ever said about it when he was questioned was, I forget it was.
Yeah, we love you too, man. Thank you, Stricky, for being here.
Let the show 60. Okay. The first thing he said, I forgot who it was asking him, but he said, well, who do you want to win the war? And he says, I want people to stop dying.
Right, that's what exactly.
And he said dying the way only Trump can say it.
Yes.
Dying.
Yeah, he said, I want the dying to stop. And he would have.
I want people to stop dying.
So, yeah, and how about it? I think since then, Putin said, yes, I'm very open to your plan. And they have a ceasefire that they're talking about. Now, this would have never happened if Kamala was there. It would be what, another 100,000 people dead? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Trump's an anti-war guy because his war is in economics. That's his war. Because if you think about it, he knows that people want to, like us, we want to, I don't think anybody around the world is different. We want to live within our means, right? Most people don't want to become multi-billionaires. They want to be able to buy a house, get married, raise a family, and then retire comfortably, right? You want to be able to reap what you sow. So they don't want war. But these guys, I mean, Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Well, there may be a couple in Africa that are more corrupt, but they're one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And they just wanted to keep that war going. And as we saw with Zelensky's attitude, right? Well, he has since apologized to Trump for his behavior there. Yeah. It's because he knows he's not going to get a better deal than what Trump's offering. Trump, in essence, Trump offered to get the war ended. And yet he's a Putin puppet. And I would say, please explain to me how ending the war means he's a Putin puppet. He's going to give them land. I'm like, Putin has that land now.
He's already got it.
Yeah, he's got it. He has Georgia. He has Crimea, right? So when he took Crimea, Obama didn't do anything to take that land back. So that's his land now. You don't do anything to take it back. That's your land. And it was all violating that treaty that the four countries had that we would protect Ukraine if Putin invaded. So yeah, Putin invaded land. He's a scumbag. Don't like him, okay? But I have to agree with him on some parts that he said, that he did not want NATO to constantly surround him, and that's exactly what they did. And he doesn't want them on his border because then nukes are on his border.
Yeah, and the thing about it is there are no good guys in this whole deal.
Well, Trump's the good guy, but I know what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Before January 21st, there were no good guys involved at all.
None. And
None.
I personally think that Biden went out of his way to make sure that the invasion happened. Just his posture, the way he said, when he's answering questions, well, now I think he has to go in to save face. Yeah, he's going to go in. Sure he is.
Yeah, but you know, there are no good guys. But Zelensky, he was used to dealing with Biden, and so he comes in. You and I both saw, you know, the little interview they had. He goes in, he tries to treat Trump like his bitch, and Trump goes, no, 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 I'm sorry, that was the last guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the last guy. So, you know, basically, and you can yell and scream whether it's fair or not. I'm going to bypass that and tell you it's reality.
Mm-hmm.
Zelensky has a choice. He can deal with Trump or he can deal with Putin.
Right.
And if he deals with Trump, he can probably be a job and
get out of the mess.
He could probably keep his job. And
They want him
maybe
out. He has the lowest ratings anybody's ever had. He's in the 20s.
but he may be able to keep. Maybe the people will throw him out, but you know, Trump's not going to throw him out. I don't think.
Right.
But if he does that, he can. You know, he avoids a gulag. He avoids a bullet in the back of the head. Dealing directly with Putin, Putin's just going to say, "Okay, we're coming in." You know.
Right.
So you got a choice. And like I said, you can call it fair or not, but it's reality.
See, the other reality is that the lib nuts are just fucking crazy. They're nuts because they think that anything short of Trump declaring war on Russia, that he's a puppet of Putin, and Trump's ego is not fragile at all, as we all know, and he's not going to go, gosh, I don't want to be thought of as a puppet. Okay, I'm going to declare war. Bullshit. What he's trying to do is get Zelensky the best deal he can and provide security for Ukraine by having U.S. interests. Not just the mining, but American contractors are going to come in and strike deals that we're going to pay for, okay, to rebuild their cities.
Yeah, and Trump knows that Putin's not going to want to come in and take over when American companies.
He said, "I'm open to it as long as he gets to keep the land that he has now."
Yeah,
and
they got to come up with a deal.
Trump's trying to come out with a way of saying, okay, you have the land. He has the land now, so we're going to let him keep it as long as he pulls his troops out and there's no war.
Yeah. The first thing, it's like Trump said, I want people to stop dying.
Stop dying. Yes. Stop
dying. The interesting. But yeah, I mean, Zelensky, it's like Trump said, you have no cards.
That's exactly right. And
you don't have the cards. You do not. You're not addressing anybody from a position of strength. You need. You remember in World War II. Of course, I don't remember. That's a little before me. Right. But Churchill came to the United States. Mm-hmm. He came to the United States and he addressed FDR as Mr. President. Right. He was hat in hand. We are so very grateful for this chance to speak. Right. And
hey, Leanne, good to see you, girl.
There's also a story about him. At one point, the phone rang, okay? And he's the prime minister. Right. He picks up the phone and he's there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And everybody's wondering, who's he talking to?
Right.
Who could he be talking to? Can't be the king. He would be saying, yes, your majesty. Right. Who's he talking to? It was FDR. He was saying, yeah. He knew that he was not in a position to make demands. He was in a position to ask for help.
Right.
And Zelensky comes in and he thinks he can treat everybody like his bitch.
Well, because he did before Trump.
Yeah, he literally, apparently, I don't speak Ukrainian, but apparently he literally called J.D. Vance. First of all, he called J.D. Vance by his first name. Second of all, he apparently under his breath called him a bitch in Ukrainian.
Yeah, Suki. Yeah, he said it twice. He did.
Yeah, I don't speak Ukrainian, so I can't vouch for that, but that's what I'm told that he said.
Yeah, I don't speak Ukrainian.
But
speak a little Russian, but no Ukrainian.
Yeah, so he needs to, be aware of who are the big dogs in the room.
Oh yeah.
And,
Here's the thing. He met with the Democrats an hour before the Oval Office visit. So I would love to find out what they told him to do.
Oh, you know what they told him to do.
Yeah, get security guarantees, because that means more money going over there so that they can get kickbacks again from munitions.
Yeah, they want to get all of that. They told him to go in there, play hardball, we'll back you up. And
hold
Trump
on,
was having none of it.
Let me rephrase that. The CIA has been the instigator of nearly every war in modern times. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Not the U.S. publicly, but
well, did you hold on, Cyber? How you doing, Cyber? I just found this out that Zelensky lived in Moscow for a while. He lived in Moscow, so he speaks Russian. So let me see. Hold on.
I'm looking something up here.
Yeah, it's Cyka, C-Y-K-A, in Ukrainian. It's pronounced Suka actually, but it's C-Y-K-A, but it's Suka, but it looks like Sika, but it's pronounced Suka.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Yeah,
C-Y-K-A.
Russian.
Suka.
Russian's slightly different. I said говорите по-русски. Yeah, I'm not even going to go into it, but I learned to speak some Russian because we had Russian programmers where I was working, and we always thought they were talking about us. So I picked up a lot of the language, and it was one of them that I was trading American curse words, and he was giving me Russian curse words, and we started learning it. And then I realized that, yeah, they were talking about us. And so I would go over and fuck with them, and I go, "Gdzie госпожа Cherkowski?" Meaning, where is Mr. Cherkowski? He was one of the Russians. And they would look at me like, did he say that in English or did he say it in Russian? And they go, he went over there. And I'm like, hey, guys, thanks a lot, man. See you, right? Eventually, when I walked in, like they would all eat together in the cafeteria. When I walked in, they would stop talking. It was great. But anyway, I digress.
Because they don't know what they don't know, right?
Right.
They don't know what they don't know. It's like, actually, it's like Trump said when somebody asked him about I think it was about his relationship with Putin. And he said, that he didn't have to think he was crazy. Just 10%. He had to have just 10% doubt that, he would do something.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Next story. What are we going to do without good old low IQ Maxine, right? Top Democrat attack dog Maxine Waters lashes out at Trump, doubles down on violent rhetoric. Top Democrat attack dog. She doubled down on violent rhetoric this week during a press conference with the Congressional Black Caucus leaders. House Democrats are attending their annual policy retreat this week as the party is in disarray without a leader. The Democrats' attack dog, their top one, Maxine Waters, 86, made a deal with Satan, said President Trump is working toward a civil war. They're the ones that are doing all the warring, and yet he's the one that's working towards a civil war. Said, quote, wow, let's just listen to the dumb suka.
What does Trump expect? Oh, I believe he expects violence. I believe he expects confrontation.
From who? Those people that we know are in the mountains, they're in the hills, and they're training with guns.
I believe he's working toward a civil war.
Remember when she said that? And no one ever called her on it. Richard Maddow never called her on it. Oh, here's a good one. Here's another good one. This is Scott Jennings. That guy, man, I just think he's brilliant to be on there. And the girl, she won't take him off the show anyway. So CNN panelist flips out when Scott Jennings calls out the mob that stormed Trump Tower. You guys heard about that? There was a leftist mob that stormed Trump Tower to try to just cause problems for the Trump Tower people, and like as if Trump would be there, right? 71 crab basket at the top of her head. I know. Cigar store Indian. Yeah, that's exactly right. She's the queen of resting bitch face. So here we go. Democratic strategist. I don't even want to attempt that name. Hokshito Hinojosa. I hope I murdered the name. Clashed with CNN's Scott Jennings on Thursday after he said a mob of pro-Hamas protesters stormed Trump Tower. Now, how much you want to bet they got her on the show because they knew what he was going to say, right? The demonstrators from Jewish Voice for Peace occupied the first floor. Yeah, I never understood that. Hamas would slit their throats, and these dumbasses on Jewish Voice for Peace occupied the first floor of Trump Tower Thursday to protest the Trump administration's revocation of the green card holder Mahmoud Khalil. We already went over what he was doing. Okay, if you're not now, look, if he was a citizen, he would have had rights. He would have been able to say what he wanted to say. But as a green card, you're a friggin' visitor to our country. You don't have the right to say that shit. And it's about time
as a
citizen,
you also have to follow the law, and he could certainly still have been arrested for some of the things he did.
Yes. He was calling up violence. Right. So pro Hamas has it. So here we go. This is going to be perfect.
Hey, it's former Navy SEAL Cade Courtley, and the next major storm could lead
the commercial. Sorry, guys. I should have queued.
Did you know that you can have permanent teeth in just 24 hours?
I should have queued.
That's right. Only 24 hours, and your new smile is real.
I want to remind you both that it was Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. When January 6th happened this year, what happened? It wasn't Democrats storming the Capitol. Actually, guess what? No one stormed the Capitol this January 6th. And so it was.
You look at the video in New York City today, the people who took over Trump Tower, the people screaming at folks on the streets. Who are those
people
folks?
were protesting. They were
In
not
Trump
storming.
Tower?
They were not storming.
They stormed Trump Tower.
They
Yes,
were not
they did.
storming.
They were inside of it.
They were not storming the. They were not
lobby of
trying
Trump Tower
to.
is
They were not trying to hurt a member of Congress. There were thousands.
This woman here on the right, she's the one that it's her show. She is one of the most brilliant of the lib nuts at CNN because she keeps Scott Jennings on. Because people watch her show, not for her. They watch for the reactions they get from Scott Jennings. I tune into this show because I love Scott Jennings. And
They got to be paid.
I'll never watch it again.
How much they got to be paying him to do this, man? Oh man!
Yeah, because he's really good at this, and
He's
you can
very
tell
good
he
at
has
it.
fun.
Do you want to go to work every day to swim with alligators?
Yeah, really. But he has so much fun, and she'll sometimes throw a snip at him, right? But she doesn't shut him down the way others on that network would, because number one, he says what he feels. We all believe he's right? They don't, but he doesn't do it in a way like he'll be a return hitter. They got to hit him first for him to be like mean back, because he won't. But he does. He doesn't sugarcoat anything because he doesn't care about their feelings.
Thousands of people who were prosecuted for January 6th.
There were no bombs at January 6th either.
You may have forgotten, but you know what? You should go read your old op-ed talking about how the president caused an insurrection. Because that's what he did on January 6th, and that's what MAGA supporters
You can
actually did.
you can scream at me all you want, but I have every single day condemned the events of January the 6th. Then, now, and I will continue to.
Let me just say one thing.
Their violence.
And what does that have to do with January 6th?
There was no screaming happening at this table. Okay, someone talking to you is not screaming, but I do want to play the rest of what Maxine Waters said, just for clarity's purposes. Listen.
It places the responsibilities.
Yeah, all right, whatever, man.
Yeah, I can't watch these shows where everybody just talks over each other, because that is a leftist way of arguing. When they're not winning the argument, if they ask you something and you start to address their point like you know something about it,
really, Lou?
Then they talk over you and change the point until they find something you don't know so much about.
Right. Hey, do me a favor, guys. If you haven't already, hit that like button because it helps us get this video out to more people. Thank you. He is the only. He is the only relevancy over there. And there was a guy, Mike Smirkanish, and he's from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, which is, we could throw a rock at. In fact, I do sometimes. But he's from there. He's a lawyer up there. And he used to be conservative. He was on 96.5 WWDB, which in Philly was the top. They had the top talent in the country. They beat out ABC New York for talent. They had the top talent in the country that were on that channel. And a lot of them weren't from Philly, but he was. He was from the Doylestown area, and he got hot. What happened was he supported Barack Obama, and everybody was what, right? He like came out to support Barack Obama, and we were like, okay, so he talks tough on talk radio, but he's got to be like a rhino, because why in God's name? And this was real action. Why in God's name would he vote for this guy when at the time he was one of the worst presidents we ever had? Right? Yeah, Irv Homer. Yeah, you're right. I was on Irv's show. I got attacked by that was his name. It was a Teamsters union. I forget his name. It was the president back then. Tried to jump over the table to choke me. But let's find another one. Prominent pastor who spoke out against crime shot dead. Oh, wow. In a Memphis bar. Yeah, kill that vice. Here we go. We have the tolerant libnuts, right? Doing kill that vice. Leftist call for Vice President J.D. Vance to be killed as he enters Kennedy Center with wife Usha. I hope her name's Usha, not Usha, because I don't want to murder her name. Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife Usha Vance attended a National Symphony Orchestra concert at the Kennedy Center on Thursday evening. Someone in the crowd called for J.D. Vance to be killed as he sat down. Kill that vice. Now, can you imagine if they said something like that about Kamala? A leftist shouted as the audience jeered and booed Vance. At one point, Vance shouted, "You ruined this place." You gotta love it, man. Here we go. Watch this. Look at him. He's laughing.
Kill that light!
Oh, for booing. Look at him waving. See the people behind him? They're not guests. You gotta love it. You're probably sitting there like, that's right. You're gonna have more money in your pocket. Stop your bitching. Yeah. Very tolerant left. Let's see, big investigation. Oh yeah, here we go. This is good. Let's see. It's about, how the left is all, egg prices are still high. Here we go. Hatching a conspiracy. You see what they did there? A big investigation into egg prices. More hens, less income. So let's see. Over the past 2 months, get out of here. Over the past 2 months, egg prices have become a political football. Journalists are reporting in depth on the industry. Egg consolidation has come. Well, didn't Biden set 10,000 hens on fire? Something like that.
No, he killed 1.5 million hens.
Oh, is it 1.5 million? Okay. Because I know there was a fire that was reported where there were 10,000 of them inside one farm.
I know they deliberately culled like 1.5 million hens. I don't know about a fire in a farm. I just have heard that they culled like 1.5 million hens. And you know what? Bird flu has been found in that many human beings.
What, 1.5 million? Oh, I'm not looking at you. Do it again.
Look at me.
One? Yeah, it was one. It was one guy. Was it North Carolina? I think it was.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was North Carolina. I could be wrong. I usually am. Hey, Liquid, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Greetings from. All right. How the hell do you say that? Hrvatska. Did I get it right? Hrvatska. Where the hell is that? That's one of those countries you're like, wait a minute, that's a country? Let's see. Oh, wow. Does that make it a barbecue? Yeah, it does. A chicken barbecue. All right. So let's see. I'll start over. Over the past 2 months, egg prices become political football. Journalists are reporting in depth on the industry. Egg consolidation has come up in a congressional antitrust hearing, and Donald Trump mentioned a plan to tackle egg prices in a State of the Union speech. Well, it wasn't a State of the Union. It was his.
Might as well have been.
Yeah, they call it that, but I had to look at the date because, okay. I was like, this isn't from 2017. The simple reason. Hold on, where am I? Okay, so
reason is simple.
Yeah, putting his Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, on notice that she has to get the price down. Most notably, earlier this week, the Capitol Forum reported the Department of Justice Antitrust Division is now investigating egg markets. Now, just a little sidebar because you know who I am. Isn't it odd that every time a Democrat administration gets involved in something, it's to harm the industry, which in turn harms the people. But when Trump does it, when Trump gets his deal, like he says to her, you're on notice, you got to get those prices down, that it's to help the industry and help people. Just wanted to point that out. The reason is simple. For most Americans, eggs have always been cheap and thus a key food staple. And now eggs are expensive and sometimes in shortage. Over the past year, egg prices have increased by 53%. Joe Biden, jumping 15% in January alone. As of the beginning of February, egg producers were charging wholesale buyers an average of $5.95 for a dozen eggs. And retailers were charging consumers anywhere between $4 and $9 a dozen, and sometimes even more. We got a guy across the street that has a hen house, and he puts the eggs out in a bowl and says $3 per dozen. So you can just go up and grab them, throw your $3 in the box, and that's that. The high prices and sometimes shortages are a problem in and of themselves, but they also represent that the American system has gone askew. Again, Joe Biden. If we can't even get a cheap omelet or egg sandwich anymore, what can America do right? Exactly. The stated reason for the high price of eggs is something that happens periodically, an avian flu epidemic, or one that was created inside of a Chinese lab. Since 2022, outbreaks of bird flu on poultry farms have led to the culling of over 115 million egg-laying hens. How about that? 115 million. This epidemic, according to the prevailing narrative, has driven egg prices up to record highs on its own. As one industry executive put it, it's all just supply disruption, act of God type stuff. The popular response to this story has been what you'd expect. Scientists are discussing flu vaccines for chickens. Politicians are blaming each other about bird culls, and many are concerned about the massive scale of today's egg farms enables and exacerbates avian flu epidemics. And none of that is necessarily wrong, but something doesn't add up about this avian flu is the sole and natural cause of high egg prices story. Despite the act of God going on and the skyrocketing prices accompanying it, egg production is actually not down by all that much. 115 million hens is a lot of birds to cull, but it's important to put the loss of those hens in context. They weren't lost all at once. They were lost over 3 years. Yeah, that spreads it out. And there have always been around 300 million other hens alive and kicking to lay eggs for America, not to mention a continuous pipeline of 120 to 130 female chicks called pullets. Well, there's a new word. In the process of being raised into adult to replace their aging out. As a result of this pipeline, the effect of avian flu outbreaks on egg production, while not insignificant, has been relatively small. Remember, Jade said 1. Monthly egg production during each of the last 3 years has averaged 3 to 5% lower than it was in 2021, the year before the epidemic started. Meanwhile, demand for eggs has actually declined. According to private reports by the Egg Industry Center, Americans went from consuming around 206 shell eggs each in 2020, that's all, in 2021 to consuming less than 190 shell eggs each in 2024. A 7.5% nosedive. They should have said beak dive. It would have made it so much more interesting. As many countries have closed their markets to American eggs since 2021 on account of the avian flu, egg exports have also fallen off of a cliff, going down nearly half 2021 and 2022 and staying there ever since. I'm trying to get to the big bombshell so that I can get off this story. That dynamic, according to my analysis of USDA data, has shaved off another 2.5% aggregate demand on U.S. egg production. So reports of an unprecedented egg shortage are exaggerated. Nonetheless, egg prices, the egg company profits have gone through the roof. It's Big Egg. It's making it out. Cal-Maine Foods, largest egg producer, and the only one that publishes its financial data as a publicly traded company, has been making more money than ever. Big Egg. Its annual gross profits in the past 3 years have floated between 3 and 6 times what it used to earn before the avian flu epidemic started. So if people are asking for or are consuming less eggs and it's going down, then how are they making this shit ton of money? They're breaking $1 billion for the first time in the company's history. All of this extra profit is coming from higher selling prices. There you go. They're gouging, which have been earning Cal-Maine unprecedented 70 to 145% margins over farm production cost per dozen. That is a lot of cost. taking Cal-Maine as the bellwether for the industry's largest firms. As people in the egg business do, we can be pretty confident that the other large egg producers are also raking in profits off the relatively small dip in egg production. High persistent profits are an anomaly for the industry. Historically, egg producers have responded to avian flu epidemics and the temporary rise in egg prices. Oh God, this thing, foul play. Yeah, okay, all right. So eggs are not. Yeah, let's get off it. So egg prices are up, and it's not the hen's fault. How's that? Yeah, there you go. You're a good egg. That reminds me of the Willy Wonka movie where they had the good eggs and the bad eggs, and the girl fell down because she was a bad egg.
Never watched it.
Yeah, and I apologize for the last 10 minutes, guys. Hey, Bex, what's going on? Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? You just went vegan? Really? I know she's kidding. I see. What is next? They slaughters like fish in a barrel. Demo wigs.
Yeah, let's go past that one.
There you go. Demo wigs.
Yeah, we could do that one.
Yeah, I'm going to do that one. Demo wigs. The demo wigs race to extinction. Democratic Party's radical stances and cultural missteps could doom it to the same fate as the Whigs that died out right before. Okay, once upon a time, there was an esteemed American political party called the Whig Party. It was one of the two great American parties of its time. It stood alongside the Democratic Party in the mid-19th century and produced 4 U.S. presidents: William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, Zachary Taylor, and Millard Fillmore. It also enjoyed the membership of other eminent American political leaders like Henry Clay, Daniel Webster, William Seward, and John Quincy Adams, who went on to become a president. Notwithstanding these great achievements, however, the Whig Party managed to destroy itself and was dissolved in 1854, just 21 years after its founding. Could today's Democratic Party be on the same path to extinction as the Whigs? I think so, because I don't think the media has the gravitas now, their word, not mine, has the gravitas to keep bullshitting enough for the Democrats for all their screw-ups and all the evil that they try to purport on us in order to keep them alive anymore. People are waking up. It certainly seems that today's Democratic Party's brain trust, such as it is either utterly hapless or has a conservative mole within the ranks deliberately engineering the destruction of the party through the incomprehensible stances it has taken. I've always said that. I'm like, what the hell are they thinking? Like Joe Biden doing certain things that would piss every American off right before an election. Given that political conservatives, of which I count myself, are historically terrible at devising Machiavellian tactics against their opponents, I'm guessing there is no mole. Democrats are simply foundering in the wake of a force of nature called Donald Trump, who is simply brilliant at tapping into the sentiments of the majority of the American people. He does have great political instincts and turning his political opponents' weaknesses against them. You know, it's the old, for my next trick, watch me make the Democrats come out against God, right? To be fair, Trump is benefiting from Democratic policy positions that, on almost every issue, are 180 degrees out of phase with most of the American people and with common sense. Now, this is because we went 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that allowed every kooky goofball crackpot to have a voice in that administration. And the media ran with it. I mean, they just ran with every goofy policy, every goofy cultural thing they tried to push. The media just supported it out of hand. Like it was queer theory or something, you know, create as much chaos as you can so that when the system collapses, you can bring them in. So beginning with the administration of Barack Hussein, Milhouse, Benito, Obama, that inscrutable rising out of nowhere community organizers, whose background is still largely a mystery to most of us, the Democratic Party began to take positions on matters of public policy that were real head scratchers. Remember how Obama traded, right? Remember this? He traded 5 of the most notorious terrorists locked up in Gitmo for Army deserter Bo Bergdahl. You remember that? Those 5 top-tier Taliban terrorists went back to their old ways, joining the political office of the Taliban located in Qatar, according to media reports. Why would any American president do such a thing? Or remember how it was like under Obama, it was the same thing as Biden. But under Obama was the first time I saw it. It was like every single day that administration did something that you had to scratch your head and go, why the hell are they doing that? Why are they harming us? Like, please stop harming us, you know? Well, remember how Obama paid the Iranians $1.7 billion in cash delivered on pallets in a cargo plane in the middle of the night, like Pablo Escobar, made up of non-U.S. currencies like euros, Swiss francs, and other foreign currencies in exchange for the release of 4 hostages. Can you believe? I remember when they did that. And how can we forget the 2014 Ebola outbreak in West Africa, during which President Obama refused to suspend flights from those countries into the United States? And then his administration flew non-U.S. citizen Ebola-infected patients, and they go, there was only 2 into the United States for treatment, risking American lives with the highly infectious and lethal disease. What could possibly go wrong? But the Biden administration, arguably Obama-controlled, took crazy to a whole new level. And we lived this shit. While the country was supposedly ravaged by the plague of COVID, was no plague, in which schools were closed, businesses shut down, and Americans were forced to stand 6 feet apart, which they pulled out of their ass, by the way. We know that now. While stupid, totally ineffective face masks had to be worn everywhere. The overlords at YouTube, I am just reading an article. Everywhere, and an experimental...
And this is not medical advice.
Exactly, and she's a doctor, so she knows. And
it's not medical advice.
And apparently toxic, according to a Yale study, mRNA vaccine was coercively injected into... All right, we'll skip that part. Biden threw open our southern border wide to anyone from anywhere to come in, no health checks or vaccines required. You remember that? He was forcing everybody to get the vax, but then he didn't do that to the illegals he was bringing in. Unbelievable. And then through his ludicrously named Inflation Reduction, and they still tout that thing to this day, Biden flooded the American economy with hyper-printed dollars for every godforsaken leftist wet dream project imaginable, resulting in, wait for it, inflation on a scale not seen in decades. Exactly. And now, thanks to... And they also did things like they stole money out of other... Like they stole money... What did they steal it from? They stole money out of Medicare and gave it to electric vehicle manufacturers. What? Like, you can't... I always say, if a corporate CEO had a program that the customers were paying into and they got benefits out of it, all right, no matter what the program is, and then he created a whole new program and started siphoning money out of that other one to give to people that paid nothing into that for years, he'd be doing the perp walk, right? They come in and arrest his ass for fraud. I mean, seriously. So how did Obama get away with that shit? And now, thanks to Doge and Elon Musk, we're discovering just how ludicrous so many of these expenditures were. Just why exactly was a recently cooked up nonprofit that didn't exist a couple of years ago and controlled by Stacey Abrams suddenly given $2 billion by the EPA in the dying days of the Biden administration? It was a payoff. But the craziness sending the Democratic Party into a wig-like tailspin that will hopefully leave a giant smoking hole in the political ground isn't simply standard corruption. It extends to their politicians and influencers taking bizarre positions on cultural matters and engaging in political performance art that is completely at odds with most normal American sensibilities. This is why I said there's no way Trump could lose. Because we have people that traditionally, Black and Hispanic and young, go for the Democrats, but we saw them all saying, what in the hell are they doing, right? Take the recent spectacle of Democratic Congresswomen dancing around like deranged leftists on LSD to express what exactly? I guess it had something to do with the opposition to President Trump's epic March 5th speech before a joint session of Congress that truly deserves to be watched multiple times for its bravura, content, and delivery. He absolutely owned the fools on the other side of the aisle. He did. Meanwhile, during that masterful speech, the Democrats present could not bring themselves to stand and applaud for a brave little boy who'd survived brain cancer, whom President Trump awarded an honorary appointment as a Secret Service agent. What is wrong with these people? Nor could Democrats stand, I just love watching them implode, nor could Democrats stand and acknowledge the family of Jocelyn Nungari, and Laken Riley, young women brutally assaulted and murdered by Joe Biden's illegal aliens, the Biden administration allowed into the country. President Trump named a wildlife refuge piece of legislation after Ms. Nungare and Riley, respectively. What sensible Americans would not view those Democrats refusing to stand with complete contempt? It's like they don't know any better. They just don't. No, instead, the Democrats held up silly little paddles. Yeah, they were like ping pong paddles with incongruous signs on them, which said things like false and Musk steals during the president's speech. The Babylon Bee appropriately mocked this representative example of the political party in flames and accelerating toward the earth. Finally, we had the spectacle of Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers introducing a bill that would remove the words mother, father, husband, and wife from state laws and replace them with inclusive words like inseminated person and spouse. Can you believe this shit? Look, this is what communists do. They change words and titles, right? This is Wisconsin, the land of nice people and cheese, for Pete's sake. That's right. I, for one, am happy to see the Democratic Party following the Whigs into the land of political dodo birds. I got to use that. It's all for the better. The Republican Party arose from the ashes of the Whigs. Maybe something better will replace the Democrats, too.
One can only hope. You know,
hold on. Andromeda, how you doing, girlfriend? I haven't seen you here in a while. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Interestingly, you know, when you're looking for fraud, the ones that are screaming and crying are generally the ones that are guilty of perpetrating the fraud.
Oh, yeah. Well, we knew all along. You're right, because we knew all along that if you ever wanted to know what the Democrats are actually doing, just listen to how they're accusing Republicans of doing it.
How many times have I said
that? 100 times already.
Joe Kennedy also said something, and he's got a bit of a way with words, Senator Kennedy.
Yeah.
He said, when you cut the fat, the pigs squeal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Joe Kennedy.
Here's another that I think is Trump endorsed. You ready for this?
What?
Breaking. Greenland's election results just changed everything.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought I'd be anxiously tuning in to see the results of political elections in Greenland. And yet, here we are in 2025. Actually, I never found politics all that interesting in general, at least that until President Trump took that famous escalator ride in 2015, and everything changed from that moment forward. Flash forward 10 years, and I'm now eagerly telling you why the new elections in Greenland just changed everything. No, they didn't vote to become the 51st state. It's not quite that extreme, but it is, and it is huge. Let's start with the tweet thread to begin. Breaking. Major political upset in Greenland as center-right party wins election. Anti-American leftists out, pro-business reformers in. Now, that's big news, especially now that Trump's saying, I want to buy them. He doesn't want to buy them. He just wants them under our protection, because the same thing with Ukraine. If they have our protection, who's going to attack them? No one. That's just it. So this says the Democratic, is that how it's? All right. Democratic Party just shocked everyone with a massive victory, jumping from 9% to 30% of the vote. They're replacing the anti-American leftists who kept saying Greenland's not for sale. You gotta love it, man. That's Trump's influence, right? Number two. Let's be clear. This is a huge shift. While the old guard was busy shouting no at everything American, the new leadership is talking about business and pragmatic cooperation. Exactly. Number three. Trump's been crystal clear. We need Greenland for national security. He's offering billions in investment to an island with only 57,000 people, and that's bigger than the Louisiana Purchase. That means job opportunities and prosperity Denmark has not delivered. Number four. Important context. 4 out of 5 major parties want independence from Denmark. The debate isn't if, it's when. Now a pro-business party is in the driver's seat. But Trump's plan likely includes independence, same as our deals with Micronesia, the Marshall Islands, and how do you pronounce that? Palau. Yeah.
Palau.
And 5, Trump's plan could mean massive financial aid and U.S. investment. People always said they were like, oh, he's full of crap with this whole Greenland thing. No, he wasn't. He was not. In fact, I think, didn't we order like 7 or 8 icebreakers to be built just for that area? Because we only have, I think, one. We have one. And Russia and China collectively, I think they have like 16. So massive financial aid and U.S. support, U.S. passports and social services for Greenlanders, defense protection, exactly, employment for Greenland's impoverished youth. 6, the truth, this isn't about buying Greenland. It's about strategic partnership and mutual benefit. Same thing he tried to do for Ukraine. And with anti-American leftists out of power, everything is now on the table. That's why, guys, that's why November 5th was so magnanimous. That so huge for the world. It was a huge gift, not just to us, but to the world, because we don't have the lefties in power now. Now we're just dealing with these frickin' judges that are trying to stop Trump's executive authority, it's Article 2 authority. Make Greenland great again. You gotta love it, guys. All right, the N media touts a poll done by Denmark, Greenland's colonial overlord, claiming 85% of Greenlanders oppose the U.S., but that's propaganda, as the election just showed. Exactly. Number 8, a different poll found almost the opposite. 57% support a deal with the U.S., and the younger you are, the more you support it. I did a whole video on this, and we're not going to watch it. President Trump himself spoke on Greenland today with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte. Take a look. Let's see what he said.
What is your vision for potential annexation of Greenland?
This is good news.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll happen. And I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international. Exactly. We have a lot of our favorite players, cruising around the coast, and we have to be careful. And we'll be talking to you. It's a very appropriate, really a very appropriate question.
There's an issue in the high north, so the Arctic. So what you did. So when it comes to Greenland, yes or not joining the US, I would leave that outside for me this discussion, because I don't want to.
You see what he just did? He's unlike Zelensky. He just said, all right, there's certain things that we shouldn't be talking here that he and I should be talking backstage. So respect.
Direct NATO in that. But when it comes to the high north and the Arctic, you are totally right. The Chinese are now using these routes. We know that the Russians are rearming. We know we have a lack of icebreakers. So the fact that the 7, outside Russia, there are 7 Arctic countries working together on this under US leadership is very important to make sure that that region, that part of the world stays safe. And we know things are changing there, and we have to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they could have complete independence and be like more like a protectorate. They don't have to be a state. They can maintain independence and have a business and defense relationship with the United States.
That's awesome. I missed Andromeda. That's awesome stuff. All right, let's see what now. Maha moms arrive in D.C. and take the city by storm. Okay, let's see. Let me bring that up. There we go. And so, boom, there we go. So it says, Maha moms, Make America Healthy Again, have made their way to Washington, D.C. to continue the righteous work to ensure that we do have the best, the safest, and the most transparent food supply in American history. And that's why I like him, because he wants to do that. Here we go.
This is a list of ingredients from foods: carrageenan, riboflavin, monosodium glutamate, and plenty others that I can't pronounce.
It doesn't sound good. Polysorbate 80, that stuff's really bad. Sodium cereol.
Sodium steroid lactylate. I think you're getting the picture that you can't pronounce this stuff.
Sodium glutamate. Titanium dioxide. Polysorbate 80, BHT, TBHQ. The Make America Healthy Again movement is the strongest movement in America because it contains moms.
And the most exciting thing today is dozens of Maha moms that have made their way to Washington, D.C. to continue the righteous work to ensure that we have the best, the safest, and the most transparent food supply in American history, as we all work as a Maha mom myself to ensure that all of our kids going forward can live a healthy, incredible life that we can provide in this country.
Right.
If you are an American company poisoning us with ingredients you don't use in other countries, we're coming for you.
Good. It's about time. Yeah, it would be one thing if they did this to the whole world. We'd have a harder argument to make. But they don't do it in the whole world. RFK with a bunch of ingredients on small strips of paper as he walks down the hall, ripping them off and yelling, I don't even know what that means.
Afuera. Afuera. It's
afuera.
Spanish for get the fuck out of here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can't wait till he gets some stuff done, man. That's why I like him, because he doesn't bullshit you, right? And he's a Kennedy. He can't be bought. He can't be bought. You know, he's been pushing for this for a very long time. So I trust him.
Yeah, and what he's doing means more to him than more money.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's see what else we got. New file, strange edits. Oh yeah, the Seth Rich story. You guys know who Seth Rich is, right?
Seth
Jake?
Rich.
So, okay, Seth Rich was the guy that was murdered in Washington, D.C., and the Metro Police, which I think they lied because they said, "Oh, it was just a robbery gone wrong." Well, he was shot in the back of the head, and his wallet and all his jewelry were still on him. So it wasn't a robbery. Yeah. Here's the story. You remember in 2016 when WikiLeaks came out with all of Hillary's emails?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I know the story. I just didn't catch the name.
Seth Rich is the guy who we believe delivered the thumb drive. He's the one that copied it, and he delivered it over in England. He gave it to a WikiLeaks agent, I guess you would call him, a worker for WikiLeaks, and that's how they got it. And everything of this investigation has been proven that the Democrats lied on everything of the investigation, because CrowdStrike came in. They testified in a closed. That was that a-hole Adam Schifferbrains. He's the one during the impeachment that got CrowdStrike, Sean Henry, to come in and testify and say, "Yeah, we did the forensics on the DNC server, and it was not over the internet because the timing of the transfer, we could tell it was a thumb drive." Well, he called it a local transfer, meaning a thumb drive. Okay, and so Seth Rich was a Bernie bro, and being that he worked at the DNC, he knew the inside story that chairwoman. God, I always forget her name. I just had it. The ugly redhead looks like Ronald McDonald in a dress from. She's from Florida. I forget her name, but anyway, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. There you go. Sorry. So Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She went and said that it was the Russians that hacked it. No, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Seth Rich found out that she cut a deal with Hillary because Barack Obama left the DNC penniless. He spent all their money. Okay, they had no money to give to candidates, Democrat candidates, throughout the election. And so Hillary said, she found that out, and she said, "Look, I'll fund everything if you guarantee me the nomination." She said, "You got a deal." Well, Seth Rich found out about that, and he was pissed. And a lot of people were, because they're like, wait a minute. People continued to donate money to Bernie. And how much? $21. Remember, he kept saying that? The average, $21. All right. So it turns out that Seth Rich was really super pissed. So he copied all of Hillary's emails, and he put them, because he had them on his PC because he received them all. And he put him on the thumb drive, flew over there. Well, he comes back, and now he's murdered, right? The parents were like, "Oh, we don't want anything to do with this shit. Please let us alone," because they knew if they killed his son, they could kill him. Now, that has never been proven. I'm just saying that because all the evidence looks like that's what happened. So now they're saying new files, strange edits, and more cover-ups. Seth Rich's story just got even darker. Okay. So here we go. The fight for transparency in the Seth Rich case has been going on in the shadows, and it just took a wild turn. New documents related to his personal and work laptops have finally been released, but as you'd likely expect, they're heavily redacted. Exactly. So what we have now is a Vaughn index In short, that's a government-produced document that describes what records exist, what's being withheld, and why. The Vaughn Index is typically used in FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act requests, when the government wants to keep information hidden. So Ty Clevenger, I've written about this guy. I just received the Vaughn indexes for Seth Rich's personal and work laptops. Downloads may be slow because of limited bandwidth, but I'm distributing to other sources. I have not reviewed the files yet. More comments to come. So things that make you go, sure, the government hiding things isn't exactly shocking, but it definitely adds another layer to the mystery swirling around the Seth Rich murder. And to make things even more suspicious, what's buried in these files is raising even more questions. There's a new thread breaking down these docs, and it raises some serious red flags. The files revealed that Seth Rich, who was murdered in 2016 under highly suspicious circumstances, had access to Vote Builder, the massive DNC voter database. His work laptop was used as evidence in the Russia investigation because Debbie Wasserman Schultz lied. And there are, in fact, she refused to let the FBI see the server. Okay. And there are bizarre modification dates on key files, some even after his death. Now, how could it be after his death? Because the server was in the FBI's custody, right? And then the server just disappeared out of the evidence room, and it wound up where? Ukraine, which is what Trump was talking about on that phone. Zelensky, all right? That was when he said, yeah, the server, I understand it's in Ukraine. Evidence tampering, anyone? And to make it even stranger, his laptop contained logs, passwords, and access to something potentially tied to election data. Any real journalist would look at this and start asking questions, but not our media. No way. The left-wing propaganda artists keep dismissing Seth Rich as just another random crime victim, and anyone who dares to question that narrative gets slapped with the conspiracy theorist label. So the question now is, what exactly was on Seth Rich's laptop, and why is the government still playing games with this case? Because the Democrats are involved, for goodness sake, of course, right? So it says Eric Charmella was the guy who Adam Schifferbrains said he was a whistleblower, but he wasn't a whistleblower. Okay. He got the shit that he got on Trump that he testified to was 3 degrees of separation. And here's a weird little thing that just as Nancy Pelosi took over the gavel, all right, right after that, one of the first things the Democrats did with their new majority was they made a rule that said that whistleblowers, because see, the rule was a whistleblower had to be a firsthand account. You had to be the one to see it, read it, hear it, whatever. Okay. She said no longer. You could have 2nd and 3rd degrees of separation. And that's how Eric Charmella, and see the CIA, Eric Charmella was able to become a so-called whistleblower when he wasn't. He said it was the third party that he heard it from. That's called hearsay, even in a court of law, right? So it says below is a long thread on new Seth Rich docs, but first some humor. You got to love the media. Lots of questions about SQL programming, access to voter database with passwords, thrown in his laptop involved the Russia investigation, CrowdStrike, and questionable modification dates. Here's a little sidebar about CrowdStrike. The guy who was, I believe he was CEO or president, was Sean Henry, and he's the one who testified. Sean Henry was the executive deputy FBI director. I believe that was his title. Okay. And he left that position. Like, why would you leave a position like that? If you're in the FBI, that's one of the top premier positions. Why would you leave that position? But he did, to go over to CrowdStrike to work for them, right? And then all of a sudden, he now is involved in this whole conspiracy that Debbie Wasserman Schultz created when she said on the news, we're one of the top 2 political parties in the country, and you would think the FBI would give a damn when we told them we think the Russians hacked our server, but they couldn't care less. And that was a lie, because the FBI came back and said, no, 4 times we asked to look at it, and she refused. And then she comes back when she was called on it on Meet the Depressed on one Sunday and said, no, that's not true. They're lying. And the guy would not give up. The FBI, I think he was a special agent in charge too. And he came out and said, no, she is lying. We have the logs. We have the questions. We have everything, right? But it doesn't matter. She was lying. Okay. So this guy, Sean Henry, his boss, and he was a protege of his boss, was none other than FBI Director Robert Mueller. The same Robert Mueller that was told by Wilmer Hale, which was the law firm that he worked for when he left. I'm going to spill a couple of things here. When he left government service, okay, he got hired by a law firm called Wilmer Hale. Wilmer Hale was at one of those big wig law firms, lobbying law firms in D.C. And their biggest client was China, okay? And they used to brag on their website. I think they've taken it down since, but they used to brag on their website what kind of trade deals they got for their client, China. In other words, they were bragging that they fucked American workers over because they got better trade deals for China and screwing us, okay? But that was their big brag. Now, all of a sudden, 2016 comes around, and there's this guy running for president who's saying we're going to renegotiate, if we win, all the trade deals with China, right? So he's saying this. So Wilmer Hale gets a call from China saying, you got to do something to stop this guy, Trump. He can't win. You actually have to do something. Stop this guy because we believe him. We think he's going to try and change the trade deals that you guys, a lot of them, set up for us. So what are you going to do? So they said, okay, we got this guy that we hired. We pay him $2 million a year. He's a little brain dead, but it's basically we hired him because of his connections to the federal law enforcement, right, to the DOJ. That's why we hired him, FBI and all that. And so they get him to go out and become appointed by Rod Rosenstein, right, who was the deputy director or attorney general, because Jeff Sessions, the Democrats got Jeff Sessions to recuse himself from the Russia bullshit, right? So essentially on the Russia bullshit, Rod Rosenstein was the one who was calling the shots. He was the attorney general for all intents and purposes. So Rod Rosenstein then, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, he appoints Mueller, who works for Wilmer Hale, who was told by the Chinese, their biggest client, to go after Trump, to become the guy that's going to run the Mueller probe into the Russia bullshit. Okay? I mean, that's what we're talking about. So this guy, Sean Henry, still had contact with Mueller, and he gave him updates on the server and told him, no, it's bullshit. He didn't lie to him. He said, it's bullshit. Russia did not know outside source, but they kept that hidden. And Mueller never said a damn thing for those 2.5 years that he ran the investigation. So the whole thing was a bunch of horse shit.
Yeah, well, Mueller said plenty, none of it true.
Oh yeah, none of it true. Let me tell you this. I think I told this before, but I'll keep it short this time. The whole Uranium One deal that Hillary Clinton got $145 million laundered into the Clinton Foundation by Russian bankers, right, to convince the other members of the CFIUS board, the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States, a board that Barack Obama created, and every member, there were 9 members, they were all cabinet members, okay? Hillary was on there as well because she was Secretary of State. Well, she convinced them all to vote for the sale. Now, Uranium One was a Canadian company that owned 20% of U.S. uranium, and Vladimir Putin, he wanted to actually corner the market on North American uranium. So he wanted to buy this. He wanted to buy it. And so Hillary, long story short, the FBI had an investigation into this sale and into the CFIUS board. They had an informant with the Russians, all right? And he was reporting back. There's bribes and kickbacks galore on this case, right? But she got the CFIUS board to vote for it anyway. One of the members of the CFIUS board was the Attorney General, Eric Holder. Eric Holder had to know that Robert Mueller was the FBI director who had a case with an informant on the Uranium One thing, right? At the Uranium One sale, and that there were bribes and kickbacks coming. He had to know that, but he voted yes anyway. So these mother effers keep saying Donald Trump's a puppet of Putin. They literally gave Putin Uranium One. Bill Clinton, his wife's State Department, declined to allow him to go over and talk to Russia to talk to the bankers. So what did he do? In typical Clinton fashion, he said, fuck you. And he went over there anyway, but he, instead of meeting with the bankers, he goes to the summer house, the summer dacha of Vladimir Putin and cuts the deal there with the translator, right? And he says, well, you gotta pay the piper, pay 145 million. So they put the 145 million and he gets them the first. Now, here's the reason why I'm telling this. Because you had Bob Mueller, who became Rod Rosenstein, remember, appointed him as the special prosecutor against Trump for Russia. Meanwhile, Bob Mueller was integral into that bullshit case that the FBI had. It wasn't bullshit, the case, but he made it bullshit because he put a gag order on the Russian informant that was turning in all this good information to the FBI. And so what they did is they charged one Russian out of the whole thing, one Russian. And his punishment was they deported him. And they said, case is over. We're good. We got our man. All right. Meanwhile, the sale went through. The bribe went through. All that bullshit. The U.S. attorney out of Maryland, who had oversight over that FBI investigation into Uranium One, was none other than Rod fucking Rosenstein, who appointed Bob Mueller, who worked for Wilmer Hale, that was told by China to get rid of Donald Trump to be special prosecutor. Very incestuous relationships there.
That's the word I was thinking here.
Yes.
And the other thing I was thinking, you look in any cesspool and you're going to find a ton of Democrats.
Now, let me trash this freaking law firm a little more. Bear with me. So one day, okay, there's this guy on social media. He has a news outlet, right? Very popular. In fact, he had more viewers and, listeners, if you will, on his radio program than Rush Limbaugh when Rush was alive. All right. Rush Limbaugh had 22 million. He had more than that. Okay. So all of a sudden, one day, he's booted off of Facebook. They deplatformed him. Now, David Harris Jr., who I wrote for a few years, they did the same thing to him. They just booted him off YouTube and they booted him off Facebook. But anyway, so this guy was the first one that they did this to. They booted him off, and then all the rest followed. YouTube, Twitter at the time, Twitch, every one of them, right? Well, that was Alex Jones. Okay? Now, why was he booted off? Wilmer Hale's number one client was China. Their number two client was Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook. Okay? And Alex Jones was the only one pointing out that Bob Mueller, he was saying it every day ad nauseum, that Bob Mueller worked for Wilmer Hale and that China told Wilmer Hale, get rid of Trump, make something up. And so that's how they're saying, oh, it's because of the Newton thing, whatever. No, bullshit. It was because he was exposing Bob Mueller as being a plant to try to take down Trump. That's what that was all about.
One of the truest things that Chuck Schumer ever said was that the intel agencies can get to you 6 ways from Sunday.
I know. Let me see what we got here. All right. I always got to look.
Sorry, Linda.
I always got to see if I get what's going on. What's up with Linda? How many? You like my Bill Clinton? Hey, I really believe that everybody should work hard and everyone should get a little head. All right. So sorry, guys, but I really digressed there. So FBI is not involved.
I don't know. Maybe we should move on. I mean, you could talk about this for hours, but.
Yeah, but this is the story. I'm back to the story. So ABC News said FBI is not involved in the Seth Rich case, despite conspiracy theory officials. That's a bunch of horseshit. So here's the document. Look at all these redactions. Look at them all. Holy mackerel. So that's a bunch of horseshit. Yeah. So anything you hear about Bob Mueller and all those actors back then, it's a bunch of horseshit.
Well, you know what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth?
What's that?
About 6 months.
There you go. That is true. And people keep saying, you got to give me some new conspiracy theories because all the other ones were proven true. Let's see. Girl, message for educated Boston. Here we go. Let me
pick something good.
Yeah, it's a video. But let me see if I have to go through the commercial. I think I do. Yeah, I do. So I'm going to skip the commercial at first. Let's go here. There we go. I'm going to skip the commercial. There we go. Boom. Boom.
So what story are we doing?
So, well, this is a video. It's of a Southern girl has a message for educated Boston critic. It's pretty good. I watched it. Here we go. Okay, let's make it up there.
So a Democrat from Boston had made a video about me saying that I confirmed his belief that Southern people are less educated. Well, sir, that depends on what you're referring to. Are you talking about a college education? Because I got one of those. But no, what you're probably talking about is politics and stocks, which case you'd probably be correct. Because I don't spend a whole lot of time retaining knowledge and things that'll have the value of a goose egg when this world goes to hell in a handbasket.
Right.
But if the markets crash and you're forced to survive on little to nothing, live off the lands and protect and fend for your own, I think you'll come to find that us Southern folks are a lot more educated than you think.
Damn right.
And you'll probably want to learn a thing or two from us.
You got to love it, man. They hate the MAGA people. They just freaking hate us. They hate us. Let's see. Tattoos, red flag. Yeah. Yeah, they flipping hate us. So, next story. Let me go. Let me bring it up so you can see it. Pick one.
You want to talk about the aerospace investment? That's a good story.
Aerospace. GE Aerospace investment. Yeah. Share this instead. Breitbart. GE Aerospace to invest nearly $1 billion in U.S. manufacturing aligned with Trump's economic goals. Gotta love it. So General Electric Aerospace will invest nearly $1 billion into American manufacturing, the Ohio-based company announced Wednesday, saying they are aligned with the Trump administration's economic goals. There you go. The aerospace giant also stated they will hire 5,000 U.S. workers this year, Reuters reported. Democrats crowded in, saying they've got to be half illegal. CEO Larry Culp shared more about the good news with Fox News' Maria Bartiromo, who I love. She's great, saying the business is growing at a very rapid rate and that the major investment will fuel thousands of American jobs. Quote, we have a tremendous demand mountain to climb. We are excited about it. And those 5,000 people coming on board in the wake of this investment will be a large part of our success. See, I love when Trump uses like he'll use tax incentives to bring these companies in, right? Or he'll use tariffs to force these companies to stay here. But in this case, I think they really want to get involved in the MAGA movement. Don't get me wrong, they want to make their own money and they want to make their own profits. But think about it. You've got 5,000 U.S. American people that are going to get jobs now, right? That's great. When Bartiromo brought up how the U.S. has lost a big chunk of manufacturing to Mexico and China in recent years, Culp said, the Trump administration's objectives around American competitiveness, around American manufacturing, American innovation is certainly well aligned with how we're running this business. Good to hear it. Now, GE was always in a line. They were always aligned with Obama. And I think throughout all 8 years of his misery, I think they tried to do things with Biden, but they were like, we don't want any part of this brain dead idiot. So Culp added that the investment will keep the United States at the forefront of aerospace leadership and that it is more critical than ever for the future of our industry and the communities where we operate. Exactly. So that's good. Jobs coming again. Thank you, MAGA. Because Trump just, yeah. Oh, this is.
Oh, I got to see this one about the DOJ tough guys. Julie Kelly mocks terrified DOJ tough
but
guys.
I'm going to show one other one first because it's kind of like ouch. You ready? This is called, I think it's called a cheap shot. What is it? Crazy green diamond. Hold on. It's called high school player hits opponent in. This is the actual high school player hits opponent in nuts intentionally during a playoff game. Where do you see this? This guy, like, I thought, oh, okay, with the ball. Oh, where do you see this shit? This is crazy, man. So let me go here so I can increase it. Here we go. Watch. It's real fast. Watch. He comes up. The guy in white. Boom. Did you see? Let's show it again. Punched him right in the nuts. I mean, dude, that's crazy. Doing something like that. So it says high school player hits opponent in the nuts intentionally during playoff game. Yes, guys, that is an actual headline. A high school player appeared to throw a ruthless cheap shot at an opponent during a playoff basketball game in Ohio over the weekend. Reynoldsburg came from behind to beat Hilliard Bradley in a Division I boys district final matchup on Saturday. While the big story should have been the Raiders overcoming a double-digit deficit to keep their season alive, it was seemingly dirty play that captured the attention of the internet, of course. At one point in the game, a Reynoldsburg player punched Hilliard Bradley's you guys say that 8 times fast, Ben Murgon directly in the groin. The act looked intentional. A man who claims to be related to Murgon said on social media that the player who delivered the blow was not ejected. You know why? Because they probably didn't see it at the time. You know, the refs probably didn't see it. Nobody complained yet. The player also did not receive a technical foul, which has been confirmed via box scores. The social media user who says he is related to Murgon said the groin punch came after Murgon hit back-to-back 3-pointers and led to a big momentum swing in the game. Quote, that's my cousin's boy who got the nut shot. I love that. Who got the nut shot. Big momentum swing. Things right after Ben hit back-to-back threes. Somehow, they just called an intentional foul. No technical, not ejected. From the angle we saw, it looks like the player who threw the punch was fortunate not to be kicked out of the game. I'm going to tell you guys something. Little inside baseball here. My brother, Jimmy from Philly, when we played for the Roxborough Eagles. Jimmy's a year older than me, but I was always bigger than him. So I was on a higher team for weights and he was on the younger team. Now, Jimmy played, what was he? He was defense, and what was he, a nose guard? I forget the position, but instead of doing what his coach would tell him to do, to go straight on past the guy in front of him, he would cut an angle and tackle the quarterback every single play. And if the quarterback jumped back for a play, he would be in there so quickly, he would either take it out of the guy's hand and run down I'm not kidding. This Jimmy from Philly would do this shit, right? And so one game, my father became the coach for I think it was for his team, but my father and I were standing on the sideline watching Jimmy's game, and it was with the Warminster Pioneers, which was in Warminster, Pennsylvania, which is not far from where I live now, but we had like a 65-pound A and a 65-pound B team. We had an 80-pound A, 80B, 115 A and B, right? They had 65-pound green, yellow, black, red, silver, orange. They had so many kids, so many teams, so they had a lot of talent, right, to choose from. So on the team that they were playing to get into the playoffs, they were face masking my brother left and right, okay? And at one point, my father's screaming, WTF, WTF, because the one kid had my brother on and was shaking him around the field, right? Well, after the game, the coach and the refs were Warminster refs. They just looked the other way, like they didn't see it. They really were that way, right? So after the game, when they were all shaking hands, the coach walked up to my brother when there was nobody else around, and he put his hand on his shoulder and he said, "I'm sorry about that, son." He goes, "But we had to stop you." And he going, "Great game." And he walked away. So the coach admitted to it. Unbelievable. So they were grabbing him, yanking him around, but Jimmy was the only sport he was good at. And he was very good at it. And his coach would constantly scream at him for not listening to him, but then at the end, he'd praise him for getting the tackle. Yeah, it happened all the time, too. He kicked ass, but hey. Surprised he hasn't chimed in. He's probably not watching. Let's see. The moms who did the Trump admin cuts. Oh, yeah. Donald Trump kept his word. Promises made, promises kept. Trump admin cuts funding to Maine universities as state defies order to ban trans athletes from women's sports. So let's make this a little bigger. All right. So it says the U.S. Department of Agriculture is pausing funding to the University of Maine system, a network of 8 public colleges in the state, according to UMS officials. Remember, she said, "I'll see you in court." He goes, "Oh, that would be fun." Like most people, no, that'd be fun. I think I would like that because we're going to win. The pause is in response to the state's recent refusal to comply with President Donald Trump's executive order to keep transgender athletes out of women's sports. It's only like 80% of Americans agree with that, right? The pause and it is 100% legal for Trump to do this. All right. The pause in funding comes as the USDA reviews potential Title IX and Title VI violations by the universities amid the state's recent refusal to comply with Trump's executive order to keep transgender athletes out of women's sports. Trump reaffirmed his intent to punish states that continue to allow. Now, see, she ran her mouth is what she did. Remember when he was giving a speech, she ran her mouth saying that she wasn't going to comply. And he just said to her, "Look, if you don't, I'm going to cut all funding." He said, "Your funding will be cut if you don't comply." And she was like, "I'll see you in court." Presidents have done this all the time. I mean, Joe Biden did it constantly. You know, Obama did it constantly. Obama did those dear colleague letters, for goodness sake. You know, we will cut all your funding. Dear colleague, we're going to cut your balls off if you don't do what we tell you to do. And that's what he did all the time. So he actually cut the funding, which I commend him for doing. In other words, don't, you F around, you find out, right? It comes back to that.
You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah. Jimmy, I was just talking about you. You missed it. I was talking about your days in football. How you used to kick ass and go after the quarterback instead of doing your job. This crazy wild man. Hope so. There you go. Good job. So what's next? We got 15 more on the clock. So
yeah, we got a few minutes. We got 1 or 2 more in us.
Putin says Kremlin. Yeah, here you go. Trump envoy. Let's do this.
What about this Julie Kelly one?
Yeah, we'll get to that. I already pulled one, though. The Trump envoy, another Breitbart. Trump envoy Witkoff had in-person meeting with Putin, says Kremlin. All right. The American delegation to Moscow spoke personally with Russian President Vladimir Putin about the Ukraine war ceasefire, and the next step is a call directly between Trump and Putin, the Kremlin said. A delegation of American negotiators. Now Biden could have done this at any time, right? No. Biden could not have done this at any time, but he didn't try, okay? A delegation of American negotiators arrived in Moscow, Russia, for talks on the Ukraine war on Thursday. The exact itinerary for the visit was apparently unclear, as it was not certain how far up the Kremlin food chain the delegation would end up going. But per remarks by a spokesman on Friday morning, they did indeed speak to Russian President Putin directly. Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, told Russian press on Friday that America's Middle East envoy, and they all said they were very happy for the Middle East allowing them to do it, Steve Witkoff, was received by President Putin late last night and provided additional information to Russia. Putin conveyed information and additional signals to President Trump via Witkoff. Manipulative. Putin doesn't really want peace. Yeah, bullshit. Fuck you. While the principles of a ceasefire have been agreed between the United States and Ukraine, getting Ukraine to agree is the next stage on President Trump's path to peace. While Putin himself made broadly positive noises about the process on Thursday evening in response to the U.S. delegation's visit, nevertheless, his comments that there are specifics to be arranged underline that actually the Russian position remained unchanged before the talks, that peace is possible as long as it is on Moscow's terms. Now, Putin's not going to get that, but he has to save face. So they have to say it. They have to put a spokesman. He's not going to get everything on his terms, but I believe Trump's going to allow him to keep the land that he already took because he already has it. Huh?
This is the negotiation. You come in with the big ask.
Exactly. That's exactly correct. That's why
you come in with the big ask.
Yeah.
And if you get it, that's great.
Exactly. President Trump expressed his hope to speak personally to Putin on Thursday, and Russia reciprocated, saying a direct conversation, good, likely by telephone at this stage, between the two leads is the next logical step. Trump and Putin are last known to have spoken in early February, but no date for when this next call might take place has been settled. The Putin spokesman said the exact time of the conversation between the two presidents has not yet been agreed upon. However, Mr. Witkoff delivers all the details received in Moscow to his head of state. We will decide on the timing of the conversation. Both parties recognize this dialogue is needed. Now, I think this is important because think about this. 4 months ago, there was nothing that was even on the horizon of something like this. I mean, America was talking, we're going to be in there in a prolonged war, and we're just going to keep pumping money in there, and we know that they're never going to win, right? There's no way in hell Ukraine would ever win, right? So,
but we can still pump money and weapons in there to keep the war going.
Right. We're still going to keep the war going because we get a lot of kickbacks from that. And I'm not saying kickbacks cash from the money we send over. We don't send money. We send vouchers. I'm talking about
there's always a lot of money to be made in war.
Right, because the manufacturers, the munitions manufacturers here, whether they're in a Democrat district or not, they know the Democrats are the ones pumping those billions of dollars in vouchers. So when the vouchers are used, they get extra money in their campaign coffers, right? That's how it works. That's how they get their money, right? Or let's say some NFGs get some really high donations by a John Smith or a Mary the Toothbrush American average.
Yeah,
right?
or like James O'Keefe has discovered, where this little old lady made like 1,000 donations to Act Blue in the past year. There was one, I think he said, the dollar, it was a $23 donation, but she would have had to donate something like 53 times every day to make up the amount.
Yeah, it was all lies. It was all bullshit.
Yeah, and he talks to her at her home, and she says, "Oh dear. Well, I had donated to Act Blue, but I didn't donate that much. I wish I had that much money," she said, to donate to them.
Oh, here we go. This one. This is for our Canadian friends, of which we love, by the way. Revealed Trudeau spent 11. Is that million units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000, $11 billion on overseas gender programs during his tenure. Holy mackerel. Over the last 10 years, the government of Canada has spent over $11.2 billion on overseas gender initiatives, focusing on projects directly targeting gender equality and women's empowerment as outlined in Canada's Feminist International Assistance Policy. Okay. The figure is a conservative estimate, as it primarily includes gender-targeted aid and doesn't account for the full value of gender integrated projects, which could add billions more if fully calculated. Trudeau announced FIOP in the House of Commons in 2017, emphasizing Canada's commitment to gender equality. Quote, "We are here today to launch Canada's Feminist International Assistance Policy, a policy that puts women and girls at the center of every..." Guys, Canadians in the chat, Can Canadian politicians define what a woman is? I'm just curious. Do they know?
Good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked one of them.
I know. Trudeau promised to balance the budget by 2019 during the 2015 election. Of course he did. But instead ran 9 consecutive deficits. The largest was in 2023-24 with a deficit of $61.9 billion, the highest outside the COVID-19 period. Annual deficits averaged around 39 to 48 billion from 2020 to 2025, driven by pandemic spending, infrastructure, and social programs. Only government is allowed. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, cool. Only government is allowed to say, you know what? We bring in this much, but we want to spend this much. Is that legal? Can we? Yeah, we are the legal guys, so we're going to do it. So we have the deficits, and we'll just blame the conservatives for the deficits. So in other words, he spent a shit ton of money on gender stuff. That's lovely. Isn't that wonderful?
That's sad.
Now, which one were you talking about earlier? I'm sorry. Which one?
We got time probably for one more because I'm on a time crunch.
You want Seb Gore?
I don't know. I thought the one, who was it? Julie Kelly. That might be interesting.
Okay, there it is. Julie Kelly. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's bring it up. It's an X one. Julie Kelly, guys, if you don't know, she's the one that has the most, the best coverage on the J6 incident, right? On the whole J6 thing, the conspiracies, all the crap that they went to, all that stuff. So she writes, and she wrote a book called January 6th. Once you get past the gratification of hearing how prosecutors and agents are terrified about the cleanup climate at DOJ, consider most had no problem terrorizing Americans they disagreed with politically. That's true. They did all the shit that and we're not just talking about J6 people. I mean, they arrested pro-life people who were not breaking the law, right? I mean, all kinds of people they went after politically. FEMA telling Trump signed on law and fuck them. I mean, think about that. It's all because they disagreed with them politically. Now an outside group is offering help and counseling to deal with the stress of getting reassigned or demoted. They should be fired. These are America's tough guys. And I really thought Scott McFarlane was going to cry. Oh, we got to watch this. Okay. Let's do this. Let's see.
An 18-year veteran of the Department of Justice resigned a few weeks ago. He's now leading a group of former officials helping those inside the department, still there, who are facing demotions, firings, possibly worse. Our Scott McFarlane spoke exclusively with this whistleblower.
There are people who have come to us who are being threatened now. Many, many more believe that they could be.
Including by the January 6 rioters, it's by supporters of the administration.
By January 6 rioters, by supporters of the administration, by others who have believed the deep state narrative.
Scott McFarlane joins me now at the table. Scott, always great to have you. Talk to the audience about what this is all about, the implications, the level of anxiety within the DOJ.
What a sign of the times that a group has had to be stood up to help so many fired, demoted, or reassigned people. That's where we are in the federal government right now. And it's in a particularly sensitive spot in the Department of Justice, which protects America from terror.
No, wrong. It didn't protect America. It became the Gestapo of the last administration.
Child predators and violent gangs. The reassignments, the demotion.
Violent gangs? You mean all those fucking gangs that the Biden administration let in Trinidad and Agua? I mean, let all those MS-13 a-holes come over the border and terrorize.
And the firings have been so bad. This group called Justice Connection has started up to be kind of a one-stop shop for everybody trying to get legal help to protect themselves, employment help, mental health support, security
you need mental
support,
health
because these are prosecutors or agents who went after bad guys and are now no longer beneath the protective shield of the Department of Justice. It speaks to the moment, but Major, there is this destabilized environment right now inside the FBI and the Department of Justice that should not go overlooked.
He thinks that things were stable when Merrick Garland prosecuted people with a phony,
and Chris Wray was in charge
with a phony law, like he charged them with the Enron, the Arthur Anderson thing. He charged all those J6 people with Arthur Anderson documents charges, just so that, because it was a felony, and just so that they could throw all these under the umbrella of that, all these other charges, and kept them in prison for 3 years under the worst, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene and whatever other Congress people went to take a look at the facility where they're kept. Brown water. They said guys had to strain water through socks to be able to drink it because it was brown. They wouldn't fix it. They intentionally, it was a section of the jail that was shut down because they had brown water, right? And so they threw them all in there. They didn't have to. They did. Wouldn't let them see their lawyers for like a year. One guy was a cancer patient, wouldn't let him get his treatments. Are you fucking kidding me? A death sentence? For adhering to the velvet ropes after you were waved into the building? Are you kidding me?
For basically trespassing.
Yeah, trespassing. Well, if it was that would be entrapment. They open the door, come on in, Think about it.
And it goes straight to morale and the ability to carry out.
This guy used to be Fox News. I don't know what happened.
Out day-to-day functions.
It's hard to chase terrorists, chase bad guys when you're worried every few minutes an email is going to pop up in your
When did they chase bad guys and terrorists? Oh, I could have a field day.
inbox. It says you're reassigned or you're fired. We've had FBI agents tell us that. It's harder.
What about? I'm sorry, guys. What about all the FBI whistleblowers that were ratting out these rats? They were exposing the scum and what they were doing in the upper ranks of the FBI. What they did was the process was the punishment. When you're an FBI agent, you are by law, you sign a contract, and in that contract, by law, it says you're not allowed to take a second job. That has to be your only income, right? So they know this. So then what did they do for the whistleblowers? When they found when an IG, an inspector general said, yeah, we got this guy as a whistleblower. I'm allowed to say his name, so I'm going to tell you who it is. Here's his beef, right? They immediately put them on administrative leave. So they say, okay, we're not going to pay you, but we're not going to let you go either. So in other words, they can't get a job to support themselves and their families. They can't do it. What kind of bullshit is that? So you had the one guy went for 2 years. They wouldn't fire him. And yet he wasn't getting paid. That's bullshit. I don't care what I don't care what these little wussies are going through. They still have a job. They should be grateful.
With this sort of Damocles over your head. Take a listen to more of what
Damocles. The last time I heard that was in a Three Stooges skit.
This Justice Connection leader, Stacey Young, had to say about the people who are reaching out to her. You've helped hundreds of Justice Department employees. They scared?
They're terrified. They're being terrorized by this administration.
Does she not look like Mr. Peabody with those glasses?
Terrified about their careers. Many are terrified about their safety, and they're
Why safety? Who's bothering them?
Terrified about the institution they serve.
What concerns them about their safety, their personal safety?
Their personal safety.
How?
For a long time now, DOJ employees have been doxxed online. They've been harassed, and those instances have increased.
The Trump administration is arguing moving out people who they don't believe can move forward.
Yeah, these a-holes on the left, they always come out and make these accusations, but they never provide any evidence. And if they have to discuss like a single person, they'll say anonymous sources, which means they don't exist.
Yeah, someone in the know.
Yeah, New York Times, someone familiar with the case, meaning no one. The New York Times got caught doing that. So did the WAPO, because there were subpoenas that came in and said, "Who is your source?" Well, we don't have to give it to you. Fine, then here's what we're going to do. Right? And they finally had to come out and go, "Okay, all right, we made it up." I mean, think about that.
The Trump administration's priorities for this agency, and they have defended so many of these personnel moves.
Is the administration at all?
Your employer can fire you if they want to. They can demote you. They can shift you. When you go to work for the federal government, especially in the DOJ and the FBI, they can put you anywhere in the country at any time. They can go, you know what? We need a guy out in Denver. We're going to put you in the Denver office, or we're going to put you. We're going to put you in the Hawaiian office. Do you have a problem with that? Right? They can put you anywhere they want, but they're acting like Trump's doing it, just to get even with them.
On the case of those who are intimidating, doxing, terrorizing these employees, because those sound like borderline criminal offenses.
Yeah, and not even borderline, right? I mean, doxing and harassment is very much.
What about the doxing and harassment of the whistleblowers, you jackass?
Criminal offense in so many cases. And I think to be deferential to all involved, those who are being victimized by this. This is an equal opportunity menacing that's been going on. People will easily point to all different peoples on different part of the spectrum who've been the subject to doxing and harassment. It needs to be
across the political spectrum,
spectrum, and across the government in different agencies, not just the Department of Justice. But let me focus on two removals in particular that have caught the attention of the workforce, and maybe not so much menacing as demoralizing. The longtime longtime veteran FBI agent who's been the head of the New York field office was, he says, forced to retire.
Yes, because he was one of the most corrupt individuals in the FBI.
He had defended all those FBI agents and employees who were listed.
Oh,
as
that was the
having been
U.S.
part of the
attorney. Yeah,
January
he had to
6th
go too.
Investigation.
When you're an FBI division head and you tell the attorney general to go kick rocks,
right?
That's not good for the longevity of your career.
Exactly. But this asshole goes and acts like they're victims.
Yeah.
Yeah. You work at the pleasure of the president. It's that simple. No, I work for my boss at FBI. Yeah, you all work for the pleasure of the president. Hey, guys, can you do me a favor? Hit that like button if you haven't already, because it helps us get this video out to more people.
It really does.
Yeah, we are 3:04. This was a great night, guys. Appreciate it.
Actually, this was great. This was great. Hope you guys had fun, and we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, gonna have a good night. You guys have a great weekend. Again, guys, I'm traveling to Texas on Sunday. I'm coming back late Monday night, so I'm not gonna have time to do videos between now and probably Wednesday. So I might try to get something out. I don't know. I might do something tomorrow and put it out on Wednesday instead of
just do something on your phone while you're away.
Yeah. I'll probably do some kind of live stream. Yeah. Thank you guys. You guys all have a good.
Thank you guys. Make sure to come back and tell a friend.
Hey, Andromeda. Yeah.
Tell a friend.
Hey, Dawn, how you doing? I'm sorry I didn't see you there. How you doing, girl? Thanks for coming. Yeah, you guys are awesome, man. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, guys. We're out. See ya.
Later.